to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you.
Good evening and welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It is the Premier League again. It is Newcastle's game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League, 8 o'clock kickoff, live on Sky Sports. And as always, the NUFC Matters team is here to take you through the game, or maybe he's not. Depends on how good the game is and what on earth we'll get distracted with tonight. As always, we'll start with the opening lineup, and the WhatsApp group went wild before. I didn't really get a chance to comment, but seems to be mixed opinions on the WhatsApp group as to who we've selected tonight. But I would have said it's pretty much as I expected it to be. Delighted to see Dwight Gale in, to be fair, up front. It's a natural replacement for Wilson. But the team, Darlow, Kraft, Lascelles, captaining the team, Clark, Lewis, Hayden, Shelvey, Willock, Almiron, St Maximin and Gale. On the bench, Dubravka, Dummett, Longstaff, Carroll, Joe Linton, Ritchie, Fraser, Murphy and Sean Longstaff. For the home team, I'm not even going to attempt to say some of these names. I've done it all season, but I really would be struggling with a lot of these. Arrizabalaga, maybe that's a good go. Azpilicueta, Christiansen, Rudiger, Hudson-Odoi, Jorginho, Kovacic, Mount, Alonso, Abraham and Werner. On the bench, Mendy, Zuma, James, Chilwell, Emerson, Kante, Pulisic, Ziyech and Giroud. Cheers, Pete. Thanks for getting us through that, mate. Anyway, but there's the two lineups. So, Martin, welcome tonight, mate. Give us your views on Newcastle's lineup.
Yeah, I think it's as strong as we thought. I kind of wondered, would he drop Darlow and bring Dubravka back in? I think maybe these two games was a chance to bring him back in. I think it's probably as strong a team on paper as he had. I think Gale coming back in was the only choice. I think if we'd have seen Joe Linton in there tonight, I think 7 or 8 of us on here might have been a bit more vocal at the start of this. He's down, according to Live Score, we're down as 4-4-2, but they've now changed that to 4-3-1-2. So that would give you Darlow at the back, Lewis, Clark, Lascelles, Kraft, Shelvey, Hayden and Willock in midfield, Miggy as a 10 and ASM and Gale up front. So yeah, I suppose you can switch that front three around. I would have liked to see maybe Willock a little bit further forward, given his debut. But he'll hopefully break into the box. So I think, yeah, look, from us, I think it's as strong as we could have on paper. There was rumours of Ritchie getting a start. But I think, look, that's probably the strongest we can put out. If I was critical, I know defensively we're struggling, but obviously Lascelles back for me is a slight worry, because I don't think he's fully fit yet.
Okay, Daz, your opening remarks on tonight's Newcastle United first 11. Daz?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my connection went down there.
Oh,
sorry
yes, you've paused. Yeah, actually, the way you've paused is... Oh, there you are. You're back now. You were paused like that. It looked like you'd struck a pause.
Yeah, no, I could have been, Steve. Actually, thanks, Martin, for that. I want to rudely interrupt this for 1 second, Steve. I just want to actually hand you over to Richie. And Richie, in turn, you can hand back to me when you're ready.
No bother. Well, Steve, you actually let slip a few weeks ago on the Tuesday night show. That's your birthday tomorrow. Yeah. So, us being lovely crew members, and we appreciate you so much, we've come up with a couple of little treats for you. Okay? So,
come on in, Jackie.
Yeah. So, Daz, do you want to get underway with the first one if you can, or tell Steve which one it is?
Yeah. So, Steve, apologies, I hacked into your system, and you might notice there's a few extra bits and pieces there. So, if you click on the videos that says messages first, please.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Steve, and also happy first birthday at UFC Toon Talk and UFC Matters. What you've done for the last 12 months has been absolutely fantastic, not just for me, which we've discussed on a personal level before, but also to every single person within the NUFC Matters crew and also the NUFC Matters community. You've helped us through a lot of difficult times over the last 12 months, and we did this video as a huge thanks to you from ourselves and the whole community, just as a little thank you for everything that you've done. Thanks, Steve, and have a great day tomorrow. Thanks, bye.
Happy birthday, Steve Reid, you poor old man. 60 is not such a bad age, actually, it's very respectful. All the best to you and your families, and may you live to see a trophy lifted by the tomb.
I also wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you so much for everything you've done for me and all of the other NUFC Matters family. It's been quite the journey. It's been a really difficult time, but your shows and your support have been absolutely great, and they've meant the world to me and everybody else. So big, massive thank you to you, mate. Away the Matters!
Hey Steve, just want to wish you a happy birthday. I don't ever plan to come on the show once. Now I'm on the TV nearly every night of the week. Thanks for all your help with Loaded Football as well. It's great to be part of the NUFC Matters community. Take care, have a great night. Good luck.
Hello Steve, great to drop by today and wish you a happy birthday. I've heard you're in your 40s. You must be clinging on to them like Richard Masters clings on to piracy. But it's great to stop by and have a quick chat with you. Remember though, at your age, it's a dangerous age. It's an age where probably your doctor, rather than the police, will tell you to slow down. And you'll be able to multitask now, son. You'll be able to multitask, you'll be able to cough, sneeze, laugh, fart and pee yourself all at the same time. But on a serious note, I hope you spend some time with your family today, because you've done an awful lot for this. You've tried your best, and you're only guilty of one thing, and that is telling people what you dream of. A little bit like myself, I always think if you don't try, you'll never know. So on that, son, just keep going, keep on doing what you're doing. I know you're in the know, and one day it'll all come out. When it does, we'll have a beer, and win or lose, we'll look at ourselves and say we did our best. You take care and have a great night. Well done.
How you doing, Steve? Just thought I'd drop you a message, seeing it's the big birthday. A happy birthday to you. I hope you're having a great day, enjoying it with the family, spending time to those that truly matter. Massive thanks to you for allowing me to be part of the NUFC Matters community. Giving us a platform to talk about the club that we love. It's a fantastic it's a fantastic feeling to be a part of it. So thank you for allowing us to be part of that, and more to come in the next year, hopefully. Have a fantastic day, enjoy yourself, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Take care.
Happy birthday, Steve. Thanks for getting me involved in the NUFC Matters, and a personal thanks as well for the hard times late last year. You've been really great to me. So listen, have a happy birthday, have a great time, and here's to many, many more, mate. And we'll catch up soon for a beer. Happy birthday, Steve.
Happy birthday, Steve, and hope you have a great one with your family.
Happy birthday, mate. Have a great day. And I would just like to say thank you for everything you've done over the last 12 months for NUFC Matters. And the next 12 months, hopefully it's even better, considering it's the last 12 months of you being in your 40s. Have a good time. Speak to you soon.
Sending very best wishes from the desert to you, my friends. Happy birthday, Steve. And here's to many more. And going from strength to strength with NUFC Matters and the whole worldwide NUFC Matters crew. Take care, mate, and have a fabulous day.
Steve Wraith, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Steve. Can't believe it's been now on a year since you got me on your YouTube show. Can't thank you enough. It's been a fantastic platform for me professionally, and I've got to be honest, I really enjoy the shows. Long may it continue. NUFC Matters has been a breath of fresh air, not only to the Newcastle United community, but YouTube as well. So keep up the fantastic work and enjoy yourself on your birthday.
Just a quick message from your favourite Mank. Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, Steve. All the best, fella. Have a cracking day.
Happy birthday, Steve. Hope you're having a cracking day. You deserve it, mate. You know, what you're doing for all us fans, NUFC fans with NUFC Matters is commendable, mate. It's unbelievable. You know, all through this pandemic, you're doing you know, 7 days a week, shows 7 days a week. It's non-stop for you. You know, that's some dedication. You know, you're a great lad with a big heart, and you know, you deserve the best of birthdays. Keep doing what you're doing, Steve. It's helping a lot of people. Have a drink on me, mate. Happy birthday. Have a great one.
Oh my God, what a way to finish. Thank you very much, honestly. When Rich said come on a bit earlier, I knew that was summing up, but obviously thank you very much, guys, and everybody else who put that on. That's honestly very humbled by that, and really means a lot. Thank you, Daz. Thanks for setting that up, Rich.
Thing is, Steve, that's only half the surprise, really.
All right, okay. What's the second part of the surprise?
Yes, there's a video that I think I'll pass up with that. This was took a lot of planning, but we hope you think it's worth it, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, Rich put an awful lot of effort into this, and as you can guess, John Justice was involved as well. Steve, if you go now to the video section again and click on screen recording or something like that.
Okay.
It's beside. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Got it.
Steve, just thought I'd check in. I'm sorry we can't be there to celebrate with you in person. Just want to give you a big shout out as well for all the work you've been doing with the NUFC Matters podcast. We look forward to coming on and speaking to you next week. As you can see, I've been working hard in my little home studio trying to work on some new tunes. So yeah, I just wanted to send you a little present. So thought I'd play this one for you. Happy birthday, mate.
You hit it back with the critics attack.
It's like I've been talking to myself again.
It's the only way you're ever gonna learn.
You look back and it's all in the past.
I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, maybe it's not true.
And it feels alright when they come and say to you that you're the only thing that makes us all believe.
And it feels alright whether our worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us breathe. What's that you said? You want control of me. There's something you should learn. When the cards are down, I run, you burn.
You fight back, it's an all-out attack.
It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine.
I want it more than anyone can dream.
We look back and it's all in the past.
You can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you.
And it feels right when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe.
Oh, and it feels alright, and whether our worlds collide, manipulation makes us wanna breathe. What's that you said is coming over you? You wish it upon a star. You wish it on a star. You are, you are, you are.
You said you want control of me. There's something you should learn. When the cards are down, I run. You are, you are, you are.
What's that you said you want control of me? Well, there's something you should learn. When the cards are down, I run and you will burn. What's that you said is coming over you?
You're wishing upon a star. You're wishing in on a star. You are, you are, you are.
That is brilliant. In true NUFC Matters style, lads. In true, completely out of tune, completely out of sync. Just like, honestly, that was brilliant, lads. Well done, and thank you to Ian from the Long Sands as well for taking part in that. But honestly, lads, thank you. Honestly, I'm humbled. Thank you very much. That has got to be the most effort anyone's put in for my birthday in a long time. So thanks very much, lads. Absolutely brilliant. I'm absolutely humbled. Thank you very much. Great stuff. Excellent stuff. So, where do I go from that? Well, obviously, we've got half an hour to talk about the match, which is perfect timing, Rich. You even got the timing right.
Yeah,
well
exactly.
done.
Exactly.
Excellent stuff. All right. Daz, did we get to you? You've completely thrown us off sync now. We did. Did we talk about the team with you or not?
No, we didn't talk about anything to do with the match. I actually forgot there was a match on.
Well, that's probably the best. We can always play that. We can always play that again if the match is crap. Okay, so the starting lineup for Newcastle. Give us your views on that, mate.
Yeah, look, the danger areas for me are Kraft and Lascelles and what damage they could do with the Chelsea attack, bearing down on them. But yeah, look, he started Gale up front. For me, this game against Chelsea and Man United are just kind of, if we get anything not from them, even a goal, I'll take some. I'd love a point or more. But they're just kind of let's roll the dice and see how we get on. I'm not expecting much, so whatever we get, all the better.
Okay, great stuff. Chris, what's your take on tonight's lineup?
Let's see, from the starting lineup and the bench, the only one that I'd have off the bench in playing would be Richie. There was some rumor that he was going to be in the starting lineup. That obviously wasn't true, but at least he's on the bench, so he'd be exciting for me. You know, I want to see what the formation is. Like Martin said, there's some question about how they're actually going to line up, and with Steve Bruce, you never know. But I would like to hopefully see Willock tucked in right behind the forwards and in a real attacking position, and continue the form that he showed in his debut. Hopefully, we're going to miss. We want to miss Wilson, but hopefully the Gale steps in, puts in a shift. You know, he's been ready to go for a while. So let's see what he can do. And hopefully this is the magic formula that we've been missing a lot of the time. And this lineup pays off.
Okay, Rich, your take on tonight's lineup?
I'm a little bit surprised Lascelles walked back straight in the team. I think Dummett deserved to have earned the start of the way he came on the other day against Southampton. I thought he was an absolute rock when we had our backs against the wall. And obviously they brought Dwight Gale in as pretty much the closest like for like we've got to replace Wilson. I know there was a lot of talk putting Fraser in that sort of place, with Wilson now playing wide right with the three up front. Perhaps Bruce feels that he wants a more potent striker, a goal threat compared to what Fraser is. But apart from that, I think the rest of the lads, especially the way that we finished against Southampton, deserve to keep the place in the team.
Yeah, I would agree, mate. Okay, Chris, your views on tonight's starting lineup for Newcastle?
I'm happy with it. You know, all things considered, it's arguably the strongest lineup we could put out. I mean, obviously, some may say you'd prefer Matty Longstaff in there for John Joe Shelby. I know personally, I would like to see Fede Fernandez in there ahead of Lascelles, but obviously he's not fit enough because he's not on the bench either. But yeah, in terms, I'm really happy he's stuck to 4 at the back. That was a big thing for me today, and yeah, I mean, I'm feeling quite positive now, and I'm looking forward to the match because I think he stuck to his guns. He's put Gale up top with St. Maximin. So he really, in terms of the replacements we had available for Wilson up front, I think Gale's the biggest like for like. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute he's as good as Wilson, but he's probably the nearest thing we have to Wilson in the squad. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the lineup, and yeah, looking forward to kick off now.
Yeah, me too. Pete, your take on that lineup tonight, mate? It sounds like most people are happy with it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm more than happy with that lineup, considering the injuries we've got. Lascelles is the captain, naturally comes in. Dummett not playing after he actually did play well coming on as a sub, so probably tells you a little bit more about him and where he's at more than anything else. I don't think that they trust him to play 90 minutes, so I think he'll probably be an option off the bench. But the rest of the team picked itself, if I'm honest. I think it's a good lineup. It's a lineup that should cause Chelsea problems. Now, for me, the more interesting thing is on the other side of the pitch in terms of Chelsea. Ariza Balaga and Kepa coming back in, it's a massive plus for us because he's a horrible goalkeeper, and that can only fall into our favour going into tonight. In having, I think it's Christensen at the back, who's liable to a mistake. For me, with Gale playing with his pace, with his movement, should be causing him problems today. And their fullbacks, Aspilicueta, who's been a fantastic servant for Chelsea, is kicking on now. He's not as fast, he's not as quick as he used to be, and having him up against St. Maximin should be an interesting night. For me, if I was St. Maximin, I'd be licking my lips going up against him with his pace and trickery. And it's the same on the other side as well, with the likes of Almiron and whoever's pushing on the right-hand side, because Alonso's not the best defensively either. Equally, I do worry about him because he always seems to get a goal against Newcastle or look dangerous. But you know what? I'm looking forward to this game because it's a free hit. Regardless of what's been going on around us, it's a free hit tonight, and we'll put a team out that can cause them problems. So, good. Looking forward to it.
Okay, Al-Walid, your take on Newcastle's lineup tonight? It's pretty much as most of us expected. I think one or two changes the lads might have made, but pleased to see Dwight Gale, St. Maximin and Almiron and Willock in there. Plenty of attacking options.
I think everybody expecting, the media, the fans, was afraid that they would be five at the back. I think even Thomas Tuchel, Chelsea coach, expect that as well, because I noticed today from the lineup for Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken, he played two centre back, which is first time since he take Chelsea for coaching. Usually, the thing he changed from Lampard formation lineup, it's just the three centre back instead of two. But today, I think they play two. Regarding Newcastle, expected change for Gale, because it's not fair if your first CF centre forward to be replaced by someone not a centre forward. I mean, it's not fair for Joelinton or Andy Carroll or Gale if he play like false nine as we talked before, because and I don't want to be we don't want to be hard on Gale today, because Gale, I remember last season he saved us many occasions and he didn't play much because Wilson, he's the number one striker for us. For the midfield, I'm happy with Joe Willock so far. I know it's just first game, but with your interview with Nobi Solano, I remember he said something that Steve Bruce and Graeme Jones must mix a bit the midfielder, not just defense midfielder. They should put someone like Joe Willock in up front, middle attack, some defensive, some center, and I think this is what happened today with putting Joe Willock. He gave him the trust to start, even we just get him for loan and suddenly. But I think he last game against Southampton, I feel like he played with us since long time. For the defense, fine with it, but better, guys. I'm not sure about who's better, Domet or Crafter. I'm not really sure about that.
Okay, thanks for that, mate. Nathan, good evening. Your take on tonight's lineup? Nathan, have we got you? Are you there? Can't hear you. No sound, Nathan. No sound.
What about now? Hello?
Yeah, perfect, mate.
There we
Got
go.
you.
Perfect.
Got you.
Yeah. I just want to say, I didn't record a video, but yeah, thank you very much, Steve, for everything for the past year. It's been a blast. And
top man.
Here's to many more. Yeah, I think if there ever was a game where we were going to revert back to that, 5 at the back, given the injury concerns and against this opponent, it would have been tonight, wouldn't it? Usually, whether that's the sort of Jones effect or whether Bruce has decided for himself that he's going to not play 5 at the back. I'll take it either way, to be honest. So this is what we've been asking for. We've been asking to have a go at these teams, to have a go at some of the bigger teams, because we need every point we can get at the moment, don't we? So we've been crying out for like a Gale start as well. Everyone's been saying, why is he in the squad? Why have we not sold him if we're not going to play him? That kind of thing. We've seen Andy Carroll creeping ahead of him at times when it hasn't really made sense. So really pleased that Gale's going to get a run out, and we can see what he can do, because we've not seen a great deal of him, have we, for the entire season and beyond that. So I actually saw a little graphic. I know some people were saying it was like a kind of 3 in midfield kind of thing, but I saw a little graphic that someone put on Twitter that looked like a 4 at the back, and then like Hayden Shelvey just in front, and then in front of those, Almiron, Willock and St. Maximum across the park, and then Gale up front on his own, which I think maybe more like what we're going to go with tonight, probably. Excited to see what Willock can offer. He started really brightly last time out, didn't he? So more of the same from him, hopefully. Yeah, again with Lascelles, it's that sort of age-old problem that we've got, that he's the captain and he walks back into the team. You just think, what would the team look like if we had people like Kel Watts or Lejeune available to us right now? Because that back four probably look very different, and you'd like to think they're probably getting ahead of Lascelles if we were picking based off ability and performance. But yeah, we need to keep it tight at the back tonight. I'm worried about Kraft getting exposed. It's going to be a big game for Lewis, and shows what he can do. So he shows how he can play against some of the bigger teams when he's put under that pressure. So yeah, hopefully we can stay strong at the back, and I think we've got enough to hurt him going forward.
Yep, okay. Spenny, are you happy with the team tonight, mate?
Yeah, I'm happy with that team, yeah. But I'm not happy about Lascelles playing. He hasn't played for a few games, and he's dropped Drummond to the bench again. So I don't know why he's not playing Drummond. He can't be injured, because he looked all right when he come on. Shelby keeps his place, but still disappointing. But other than that, I like this. I like the formation there. Been better with Wilson playing, but you never know. Might do Brighton tonight.
Well, it's been a weekend of funny results, hasn't it, Spenny?
Yeah, it has. Liverpool getting turned over and all that sort of thing. And like I said, it's an unpredictable league this year. Anybody wins games against the big teams. The big teams are losing points against smaller teams, aren't they?
Yeah, no, there's definitely been a funny league. I mean, Man City though look as if they're going to walk away with it, but the bottom. At the bottom is always tight, and Fulham seem to be putting a bit of a run together, which is a little worrying. It has to be said. If Newcastle lose the next 2 games, Fulham can pick up another win somewhere, maybe another 4 points. Then things are going to get quite interesting as the season moves on.
It just shows, Steve, how far behind we are, aren't we? With West Ham, first game of the season, we're crap. Look at them now, and then you go into the Champions League. You know what I mean?
Yeah, West Ham won 2-0, I think, tonight, or they're winning 2-0. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, into 4th place above Liverpool now, which is it's absolutely crazy. Okay, look, we always look at the home team as well, the opposition. Wow, I mean, Martin, it's an impressive lineup, and with the new manager who has certainly created that managerial bump, if you like, where a new manager comes in and the players seem to focus and get a lift. It certainly happened there with Tuchel coming in.
Yeah, and I think if any manager is going to get the best out of Werner, it's probably going to be him. Hopefully not tonight. I think the other thing is that you look at Chelsea's bench, the likes of Reece James, Kante, Chilwell. They've got massive game players that can come on as well. But I think we've enough to go at them tonight. I think what will be important for us, and I'm sure at some point Pete will say the same thing, I think we've an opportunity to catch Chelsea as they transition. But I think we can't get too overrun in midfield. So I think our timing has got to be well, and we've got to choose when we go and press high against their transition, because I think the one player that stands out for me, as much as they've got the likes of Abraham up front, I really, really like Mason Mount. I think he makes great runs. He can defend, but he reminds me very much of a young Lampard in just being in the box at the right time, finding space, arriving unmarked, and he can also, hit him from 30 yards out as well. So I think they've got plenty to hurt us, but I think if we play well through midfield, and for me, for that to happen defensively in midfield, both Lascelles and Shelby have got to put a shift in and just leave it on the pitch tonight. They've got to get stuck in. We've got to press. We've got to tackle, and we've got to go at them and not be afraid to play ball. Just listening to Bruce there, he's talking about Gale. Hopefully he can fill Wilson's boots and go out and enjoy himself. He's ready to go. To be fair to Bruce, as much as I slayed him, the speech was fairly positive. He's not going to change styles. He knows that's how they need to play. So they're going to go at Chelsea, albeit they're a top team. They're going to go at them. So let's see what happens. But I think just transition is where we can catch them.
Great speech from Steve Bruce. He must be getting notes off Graham Jones now as well.
Yeah, it must be.
Daz, the Chelsea team, I mean, it's it's overloaded with talent, and the bench isn't too bad either.
Yeah, and I don't see that they don't have Kai Havertz on the bench either. As Pete mentioned, having Kepa the keeper back in is good for us. He's prone to an error. As Martin mentioned, Mount. He's a talent. They're going back with Alonso back on the wing back position as well. We're keeping Reece James out. But they're going to be strong, and with Tuchel coming in, he's going to try and get the best out of the Germans. My worry is Werner turns up tonight. I hope he doesn't, but it's going to happen someday.
Yeah.
Hope he doesn't turn up tonight though.
No, I think you're right. Chris, are you praying or are you ready? Yep, you're ready. Over to you, Chris. What's your take on that Chelsea team?
Yeah, I think we've got more than a prayer tonight. I am sort of wondering how these new signings work out under Tuchel. It didn't seem like Lampard handled them very well. I mean, they've got a strong attack. I'm not sure how strong their back three is. So I think there'll be opportunities. I mean, Gale has got pace, and we'll see how the Chelsea defense deals with it. But we'll also see how our defenders deal with the twin attack, having two up front. I noticed that Lampard often just played single striker, and so it'll be interesting to see how two up front for Chelsea, how United deals with that threat, and whether they're sort of overpowered by two, I would say, strong, if not superstar center forward.
Did you manage to catch up with Doctor Who, Chris?
Not quite yet. I'm sort of in the process of moving a house, but once I'm all settled, I'll have to settle down with the box set or catch up. And
you've got 35 years to catch up on, man.
Yeah. Chris, you need a bigger TV to watch it.
You do, you do. You need one of those TVs where you go in and it gets bigger on the inside. That's the TARDIS. It's an in-joke anyway with the Doctor Who. You'll get it when you watch it. Rich, Chelsea's lineup.
Do you know what? Tim's got it summed up perfectly, and I actually do fancy something because I think he is resting a few of his big guns. I agree with what both Daz and Peter said. I think Kepa coming in, we all know he's prone to a mistake or two. But we've got the way to make that cap, we've got to put up the pressure on him. We've got to be making plenty of shots on target for those mistakes to happen. I do believe that they've actually got a really strong bench to watch out at the minute. I think Zuma's had quite a solid season. To see him out is quite a positive. I think both Reece James and Ben Chilwell are probably their best wing backs, and to see them on the bench is a plus as well. I personally think that N'Golo Kante is probably their best centre midfielder. I just think he's one of the best holding midfielders in the Premier League, and for some reason he prefers to go with Jorginho and Kovacic every single game. And Abraham's been a bit hit-y-missy, so has obviously Werner's had a terrible start of the season, but we've probably jinxed that tonight by saying he'll do well against us tonight. So I'm actually, the way Abraham's been playing, he hasn't been as, he's not as prolific and effective, in my opinion, as what Giroud would have been. And so the only bonus that we've got is they start off with a weaker team, hopefully trying to rest some. But he can only bring 3 of that strong bench on, so that's a big plus for us. But I think we might. It's looking positive, and obviously we've got to just make the most of whatever chance we get tonight. Because I do believe, as long as we can get at that back 3, that we could trouble them.
Okay, Chris, your take on Chelsea's lineup tonight?
It's an interesting one, Steve. Do you know what? Until Pete mentioned it, I hadn't even noticed that they put Kep in him. So that is a massive advantage for us tonight. I mean, looking. I know you mentioned earlier about, Tuchel's made a good start to his career as manager at Chelsea, and he has, in terms of, results, he certainly has. He has a draw in his first game against Wolves, and then I think he's won every game. But the last few games I've been watching Chelsea, I've not been all that impressed. I don't know whether it's because they're still in a hangover from the Lampard period, or whether it's just because they haven't clicked yet. But I think that's why I'm so looking forward to the game tonight, because it just feels like a really big opportunity for us. And looking at the lineup, Jorginho and Kovacic technically are brilliant, but the legs. If I was a Chelsea fan, it'd be the legs that worries me a little bit. So this is a big night for Joe Willock and Miggy. I want to see Miggy pressing those lines and getting through, and supporting ASM and Gale up front. And as Rich has just said, I'm really pleased Giroud's not playing. I'm a massive fan of Giroud. Not saying that Tammy Abraham's no good, but I would much prefer Giroud if I was a Chelsea fan. So, Werner worries me, especially because obviously he's more towards the left, and I suppose that's where I feel that we're at our weakest, with Lascelles and Kraft. So that does worry me a touch. But even the back 3, as we've already spoken about, Azpilicueta's not the same player that he once was. Christensen, I'm not a big fan of. Rudiger, I mean, he made that terrible mistake, didn't he, against Sheffield United? And by the way, when Chelsea beat Sheffield United 2-1, I don't know if any of you saw the match, but Sheffield United were incredibly unlucky not to come away with something that game, because they really give them a good go. And I think that's where the enthusiasms come from. I suppose an interesting one for me tonight as well. I know, and this is something that Conte did at Chelsea. I know Hudson-Odoi is now playing right wing back, a bit like Victor Moses did for them under Conte. So it'll be interesting to see what Hudson-Odoi brings in that right wing back position. And obviously it's going to be a tough one for Jamal Lewis, because I know he likes to overlap. He's been playing a lot more forward in the past few weeks. So that will be an interesting battle. But do you know what? It's there for the taking, and I'm just so happy, that we're not reverting to 5 at the back. But it will be interesting to see how it pans out tonight. And I'm also interested to see how we play against 5 at the back. I know Chelsea will probably more play 3 at the back, but if we're attacking them, we really push them, and Chelsea sit back, sit deep, it will be interesting to see, how we approach that. And also, that obviously them on the counter. I mean, on the counter, they've got some fantastic players, haven't they? So we're going to have to be careful. But no, we've definitely got an opportunity tonight, and I just hope that a few of our big players turn up this evening, such as St. Maximin, Willock. Let's hope he can build on that, cracking debut that he made. And Miggy, if Miggy does all his running tonight, which he always does, I've got a feeling he's going to have a good game. And obviously it's up to Gale. When the chance comes, he's got to put the ball in the net.
Okay, teams are coming out on the pitch. You'll have seen some people in the chat already getting the first goal scoring time in. I am going to ask you for that, so well done on those of you anticipating it. Spider VPN are sponsoring us this month on the StreamYard application. They are the main sponsor. So all we need from you is the correct opening goal time. Have a guess. The first person, if you say 17 minutes, as somebody already has in the chat, then that is your time. Mike Gent's in with 9 minutes straight away, so that is his time. So pick your time, and you will possibly win a Spider VPN router and a 12-month subscription. Big shout to Gareth, who is watching tonight, for donating that on each of the matchday lives. qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, are also one of our sponsors. And also a big shout out to John from Jab Signature, who makes the flyers. As the teams take the pitch, we'll quickly get the rest of the lads' views on the Chelsea lineup, and then we'll get the predictions. So Pete, just a quick one on Chelsea's lineup.
Yeah, I already talked about from a defensive point of view where we can get in against Chelsea. I think they're quite weak there, and I think I think we'll get chances today. In that midfield, we're set up sort of 3-for-3. So we're looking at a big performance from the likes of Shelby to be able to hold the ball in midfield and transition that play with the ball. Willett's going to need to arrive in the box if we're going to have a chance of scoring. He needs to be that extra man, just like he was against Southampton. And Lascelles is going to have to be big and strong up against Tammy Abrahams because he can be a handful. So it's going to be a difficult game, but they are resting players for midweek, and I think we can expose that. So looking forward to it. I'll stick my prediction in now. I think it'll be 2-1 to Chelsea.
Okay, Al-Walid, a quick view on Chelsea's lineup, please.
Yeah, the only I did some digging. The major change between Lampard and Tuchel is Tuchel put 3 centre back. Statistically, I notice in the attacking almost the same shots on target, 58. 18 on target for Tuchel, for Lampard 55, 18 on target. But on the defense level, the major effect for Lampard, 46 shots, 17 on target for last 4 games before he sacked. For Tuchel, 4 games, 20 shots, only 5 conceded on target.
Interesting, Al-Walid. Interesting. Andre usually gives us the stats, but thanks for that. Nathan, quick one on Chelsea's lineup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be won and lost in that midfield for us tonight. I think we need, like Pete said, we need Willock to really get the running in today, arriving late in the box, where possible, getting shots on at this keeper, because he's looking nervous already there, even walking on the pitch as Kepa. So, yeah, we need to get some shots in early and get him tested. I feel like there's quite a few of their key players missing tonight that are on the bench, probably waiting to come on. It's there for us to get. It's there for us to get today. Yeah, big fan of like Kante, and the fact that he's missing is perfect for us today. So yeah, it's going to be down to Gale whether he can run that line like Callum Wilson does and create that space for the others to move into. But yeah, it's there for the taking tonight, I feel like.
Okay, Spenny, Chelsea's lineup. Are you as confident as the rest of the lads?
Weakest link, it's going to be the keeper. Looking at these stats that just come up on the screen there. I can't help looking at Chelsea, thinking we could have been that team if we got took over. And I think we'll be a 1-1 draw tonight.
1-1 draw. Okay, Nathan, what was your prediction?
2-2.
Al-Walid?
2-1 Chelsea, but we will play good.
Chris Hall?
1-1.
Rich?
1-1.
Chris?
I'm going to go with 2-1 Toon, Black and White Army.
Okay, Daz?
2-1 Chelsea for me, I'm afraid.
And last but by no means least, Martin.
1-1, Steve.
1-1. Okay, the teams have kicked off, and 20 seconds in, Newcastle 0, Chelsea 0. Got your goal scoring times in, so hopefully John will have managed to catch them. If not, we'll have to go back through them. Steward's inquiry at a later date, but I'm sure most of you are quite honest. Anyway, we will get the winner announced as and when. We've got an early injury, and not even a minute in the game, and Gale is down on his lying on the ground, but he's managed to get back up and limp up. He doesn't need treatment, and free kick, I think, to Newcastle as the Sky cameras focus on Steve Bruce. And the stat that came up there straight away, Martin, was the games that Newcastle have won without the St Maximin and the games that they've lost. And although all the talk has been about Graham Jones's impact coming in, which is something which has been dismissed a lot by some, but pointed out by others. A lot of people have said it's down to ASM coming back in, and the stats would probably suggest that could be right.
I think what the thing with ASM, when he's on his game, as he was with Southampton, we're a different team. The problem with ASM for me was before his injury, 5 or 6 games after getting the new contract, and he was in the team, he was awful. He wasn't running. Maybe it was set up, maybe it was injury, maybe it was a host of different things. But form-wise, he was probably one of the worst. that we had and just wasn't performing. And I think everybody around this panel questioned that, after him getting the new 6-year deal. Against Southampton, him and Miggy, running, the two of them were on fire. ASM played well. He plays well on that, coming in from the side. The option of running him as a 10, we know it doesn't work. He's not a 10. He's way better coming in off that left-hand side and cutting in. So if he is on his game tonight, then we are a different team. 44% win ratio with him in it against 14 out. So he makes a difference. He would make a difference to anyone's team, with the way he can dribble. We spoke about it last week. Defenders don't like being, their backs to goal, having to run backwards with a front man like him running at you. So he just needs to be on his game. But, like the lads have said, I think it's down. We need a strong game from midfield today to allow ASM to do his thing.
Okay, Daz, would you agree?
Yeah, we're just picking up what Martin says. He hasn't done his thing really this season. He's done it. We've seen a bit of it, but no, he hasn't really done his thing. And Martin mentioned the contract situation where he didn't play after he got the new contract, really to his ability, and then his mate coming over as well and getting a contract in Newcastle and playing in a different position that he wanted to play in. There's a whole load of factors, and then there was, as we said, the talk about maybe a falling out with Bruce or whatever, and so the season starts for him now. Really, I want him to prove his worth again, because on his game he's a match winner for definite. But we haven't seen the best of him this season. I remember I had him in my fantasy football team at the start of the season, and I think I took him out after the first week or two. So that says it all for me on St. Max.
Okay, Chris, as you have a swig of your Coke there, son, what's your take on ASM? Has he been a big impact on the change of fortune? 2 wins out of 3.
I think it's a bit feast or famine with St. Max, unfortunately. Either he's like the dominant force in the game, or else sort of the rest of the team doesn't know how to play with them. So I would look for him to get more involved. Maybe he's got more chemistry with Gale. So hopefully that works out for him. But he's got to be more of a team player. But then the team has to know how to be able to work well with him and to make him at his best. So it's kind of a give and take. And I hope that as much as he's a wizard with the ball, that he becomes more of a integrated team member, and it's not sort of the free agent, free for all player, but part of a good show.
Okay, Rich, what's your take on that? On the ASM situation? I mean, he's certainly playing better now than he was essentially when before he got injured or before he got COVID.
Yeah, I can take what Daz and Martin touched on. He was doing really well until he signed his contract extension, and seemed to go well throughout 6 games. But since he's come back from COVID, or whether there was the falling out, he has looked a lot better. I think the reason why we've got such a good win percentage with him is he's capable of doing anything, and that worries the other team. So it creates extra space for our other players, because sometimes an extra man gets drawn towards Maxi, so they might have 2 on him or something like that. He can take them out easy enough, and because of that extra space, it's allowed us to be more of a goal threat as well. So that's why he's the win rate ratio is so much higher with him, because he's that constant threat that we don't have without him, that nobody knows what he's capable of.
Yeah, I would agree. Chris, a bit of pressure already from Chelsea, 6 minutes into the game, and they're having successive corners. We'll just watch this one go in as well, because you just fear there might be something coming here. Chelsea look very organised on the corners. Ball swinging in, and Abraham puts the ball comfortably wide of Darlow's upright. ASM, what's your take on his comeback so far?
Yeah, I love ASM, Steve. Absolutely love him. I think he's one of those players where when he picks up the ball, you can see the opposition don't like the fact he's got the ball. He's very unpredictable. You know, he's got that lightning pace. He's got that bit of trickery to him. He must be, as a Newcastle player, he must be difficult to play with, because at times he reminds me a little bit in that sense of Luar, where he used to pick the ball up and you'd just be like, what's he going to do with it? A moment of brilliance, a moment of genius, and then other times, he'll run into an alley where you think, why are you going that way? But we're a better team when he's in the side. We're a better team, and I think the formations has a lot to do with our upturn in results. But having a player like Maxi, it eases the pressure on the team, because he can take us forward that 20-30 yards, same as Miggy can do. But yeah, I'm a massive fan of St. Maximin, and every time he's in the lineup, I get excited. And when he picks the ball up, I always feel like something's going to happen. So he's a joy to watch, and I just hope that today he's up for it. That's my only criticism of him. Sometimes if things don't go his way, his head tends to go down a little bit. So that's not always great. But let's hope tonight's one of those nights where he's up for it.
Yeah, let's hope so indeed. Your take on the ASM situation then, Pete? I mean, he's back in the team now, and certainly those stats would say that he's an influential player when he's on his game.
ASM is absolutely key to us, and that is just the reality. The stats prove it. The fans know it. We know that we're not nowhere near the same team when we're without him. And if you look at all the top teams, or even in the majority of the Premier League teams, you need that standout player to make the difference in your team. You can go through with Palace and Wilfried Zaha. You can go through to Leeds with Rafinha. You can go through with Villa with the likes of Grealish. You can go through with West Ham with the likes of Mikel Antonio. They've got that one standout player that makes the difference in their team, and that's what ASM does to Newcastle. We are so much better with him, and we can go back through the years with the likes of Ben Arthur, with the likes of Laurent Robert, with the likes of David Ginola. All those players were like maverick players. They're the players that you don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to produce something special at some point. And that's exactly what ASM does. Is he at the level of the other three that I've mentioned? No, not yet. But the lad's 23 years old. He's got potential. He's already lighting up the Premier League at 23 years old, and he's got his whole career still ahead of him. So he's got time to really progress and dominate as the years go on. So, look, he's massive to us. And although we're gutted about losing Wilson, he was key to us getting points last year, ASM was. So with him in the team, we've still got a chance. I just wanted to touch on the Graham Jones point. And I sent you a picture, Steve, you put it up. And, when you've got people online and they're talking about, we're trying to obviously protect Bruce and throw positives out for Bruce, in terms of, he's not had that much of an influence and Bruce is still doing it all. I'm sorry, right? Newcastle website put that on during the week. I think it was Thursday last week that they put that on. And you can see how much influence, just in that one picture, he's having on the squad. Do we know what he's talking about? No. But I don't think there's been ever a picture this season with the assistant managers actually going through and talking to the players and have it documented by the Newcastle website. And that just for me just says everything about his influence on the team right now. He is influencing everything. Is he the manager? No. But they have brought him in to build a philosophy within this team. And that's exactly what he's doing now. And you can look through at the players and they're listening to him. You can tell that his ideas are really coming across right now. And they've been implemented and they're working up until tonight. They're working. And he is going to be key to us staying in this league. If we stay in this league, he's played 90% of the part in it.
Yeah, I would agree. A lot of people in the chat agreeing with you as well. Al-Walid, ASM, how influential has his return been to Newcastle's upturn in form?
I believe there is many reasons for his level now. At the beginning of the season, after a few games, most of the rivals and the other teams' fans, they always and the coaches of other team, they always when you ask him about the teams or Newcastle, if you ask them what the player most you are afraid of in Newcastle, they will say it's Saint Maximin. I think after his goal against, if I'm not mistaken, against Burnley, our last goal he scored when he passed many players, 4 or 5 players, and take the shot out of the box. The other coaches took him very serious. And the style of, add to that, his style of play is I think been studied very well. The coaches know how to stop him. They put 2 or 3, 2 at least, to mark him during the play. Besides, Steve Bruce formation make it also difficult on Saint Maximin, because they always give him the ball and just this is the plan. Just at the beginning, this is the plan. Just give the ball to Saint Maximin and let him pass or dribble the whole players. And this caused him many injuries, many hits at his foot. And I notice him now. I don't know. For me, I'm a physical therapist, so I always care about the movement of the body. I notice he's moving or he's running is different than last season or beginning of the season. There is some different. I don't know. Is it extra weight or some maybe some knee pain? We see the strap on the left knee. Also, I think COVID. Maybe COVID. If he get COVID, as I remember, I think some players, even me and in my team in Saudi, some players who get COVID, they become health and muscular state not the same as before. So I think this is also one of the reasons. So it's a compensation of many reasons.
Okay, Chelsea 0, Newcastle 0, coming up to 14 minutes on the clock. It has all been Chelsea as Tammy Abraham gets the ball. There's a challenge in the box and it's nothing doing there as the referee doesn't even look at it. Abraham rolls around on the ground as Premiership footballers do. Holding his shin. I'm not sure whether we're going to have a VAR here. We'll just keep an eye on it. Looked like a fair enough tackle to me. It was Lascelles who came steaming in. Yeah, he got the ball. Great tackle.
It's a great tackle.
Really good. Nothing wrong with that at all. And the referee got that spot on. Just watching as well. Was he offside?
No. I think Lewis played him on.
Yeah, Lewis played him on. But it was, great challenge up by Lascelles. Got the ball, no doubt about it. I don't think they're really looking at this, are they? Just double checking. This is the problem sometimes when you're not watching with the volume up. But Abraham is down. He's getting treatment. He doesn't look too clever. Certainly in a bit of pain. Might have to go off here. Looking at him, we'll just stay with this.
I think if you look back at the replay of that, he actually tries to play for the penalty. You know, a normal striker would look to be going for the shot, but he tries to get his body across to the cells to go for the penalty. So he's hurt himself. It's his own daft fault.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Lascelles went for the ball clearly.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did. Whilst Abraham's down, there's nothing doing. So we'll come to you, Nathan, just on ASM. Your thoughts on the mercurial player that we signed?
Yeah, I think it's like last season and going into this season, it was a case of we didn't really have a game plan. We'd wait for ASM to get the ball and hopefully he could turn something out of nothing, and that'd be the main reason why we'd get a goal or why we get a penalty or why we'd get points in the games. But I think with what tends to happen with these kind of players that that like to run at people and that like to take people on is that moving into their second season, teams tend to find them out, and teams try to work against them and find out ways to keep them quiet. I think what we saw a lot of that earlier in the season was ASM just getting kicked to bits every other game, wasn't it? It was targeted by by the fullbacks in every single game. He was crunched every time he got the ball, and that seemed to. I think that happened against Brighton, and he looked like a shade of himself after that. He looked really low on confidence after that, and just went missing. He got a bit of a knock, and then he looked like he just wanted to come off just because he couldn't be arsed playing anymore, to be honest. But those moments of magic that we saw from him last season, quite often they've been fewer and far between this season, particularly after signing that contract. These types of players, kind of that we've seen come and go from St James's, it's all about the end product and what end product they can deliver, and that's something that obviously needs to work on. It's something that's not consistent enough. I think he helps us massively in that he gets the ball and just takes it 10, 15, 20 yards up the pitch for us. And that means a lot to us, a team that sit back quite deeply as we do. So he's very important to us in that sense. Obviously, we're 10 times better with him on the pitch than without him. He's probably one of our main creative spark, if we've got a creative spark at all at the moment. Almiron does all the running, but for me, he's not a patch on St. Maximin with the range of passing, shooting, that kind of thing. I think Almiron's got a lot to do and could learn a lot from St. Maximin as well. So we just want to see a period of it. His season feels quite stop and start to me. There's been injuries. There's been little knocks and stuff that he's picked up along the way. He's been, the COVID came at a bad time as well when he was just about getting in his stride. So what we need to see is a period of consistency from him now and a run of games and get him back to full match fitness. I still don't think he's whether he's fully fit or fully match fit. I think he's a bit off the mark still. So when that comes, obviously we'll see the best of him then. But yeah, a massively key part of our team. But I think if he wants to be one of the best players, in the league, which he could be, if he wants that move to Real Madrid, to Barcelona, that kind of thing, then he's got a long way to go in terms of that end product and improving. But yeah, I mean, he deserved the contract, the new contract that he got, because I think he was on quite a low wage for how well he was playing last season. But has he been value for money of the new contract? Probably not, since he got that new contract. But yeah, there's a long way to go, and like I said, he just needs a run of games and to get back on top match fitness.
Yeah, Abraham still feeling the ankle injury. He did walk to the to one side of the pitch, but he is still down, and it's certainly doesn't look good for him. Giroud, of course, coming on, does have a decent track record against Newcastle as well, doesn't he?
What happens is that at the end, it was a good tackle, and then his leg got caught up underneath while they're both going down.
Yeah.
So that it was like this.
That's when a striker plays for a penalty instead of playing the ball.
Yeah.
But it's not easily.
They injure themselves by trying to, construe something that actually isn't there. Yeah. Abraham does that on a regular basis in the league. He leaves the ball and tries to get in front of the defender, and he's obviously very long-legged, but it's it only takes one little clip of a heel or tip of a heel, and it's the same thing. He did the same against, I think, when they played Sheffield United. He did the same against Arsenal as well. So it's not the first time he's done that this season, but obviously he's come off the worst for it against Lascelles there.
Yeah, no doubt that he's coming up. And Giroud has come on. Spenny, ASM, just finish off on you. How important has he been in Newcastle's revival?
You just woke me up there, Steve. I was just in the Martin. Nice, comfy voice. ASM.
Sit back and relax, Danny.
Best player we got. Simple as that. Brings Miggy into the game. The forwards love him. Last season, like the beginning of last year, I thought he played him out in position. That's why his form went. He's come back. He's playing in his right position now. Danger all the time. He's a match winner. Simple as that.
He's a match winner. Simple as that, he says. And Newcastle United 0, Chelsea 0. 20 minutes on the clock. So it's as good a time as any to get the lad's opinion. Newcastle.
Joe.
First time that Joe's managed to breach the Chelsea rear guard, got as far as the 18-yard box, but Chelsea have managed to clear and they turn defence into attack, but the ball ends up in Darlow's hands. So, coming up to 21 minutes, Martin, give us your assessment, first of all, on the formation and how you think Newcastle are doing in this game.
Wish we were Dubravka.
Yeah, formation-wise, it does look...
Come on. Give it.
Oh,
yes, Sam.
Should have given
it. This final decision is where we lack sometimes. Like, we get some great killer ball situations and then just make the wrong decision in the final third and do nothing with it. Formation wise, yeah, it looks like the 4-2 kind of 3-1. Willock seems to be the one getting close enough to Gale, ASM left, and Willock and Almiron through the middle, Willock kind of more on the right. So definitely kind of the 4-2-3-1. I think we've done okay. Chelsea have had the majority of the ball. They're getting good space down that left-hand side with Werner up against Kraft. But chance-wise, they've not really created anything. Kind of 22 minutes gone. they've had, I think, one shot at Darlow. So from that perspective, yeah, look at it. It's okay.
Okay, Daz, your assessment on the first 22 minutes?
Yeah, just on the formation first. Yeah, it seems a 4-2-3-1 as I had it drawn out at the very start. But yeah, the first 20 minutes, yeah, Chelsea had a string of corners there that they were knocking on the door. But lucky enough, we held them off. We haven't had that any clear cut chance really ourselves. But it is early days. But yeah, if it even said like this, I'd be happy.
Jones is there on the telly.
Yeah, the stats have just come up there. Steve Bruce's managerial record pretty much the same as most away grounds. He's won 1 in 12. Chris, Graham Jones is watching the telly.
That's great there. Great there with Agnew, isn't he? He's just saying to Agnew there, this is ball. This is ball. This is forward. Us in black and white. Us in black and white. Like Agnew looked completely. Oh, it's Clemens, was it? Clemens looked completely perplexed there as to what was going on as Jones is pointing to the telly. Brilliant.
I think he's tuning Coronation Street in for Bruce.
He's watching something, yeah. Brilliant.
Which Chris are we on?
Yeah, you, Chris.
Okay, good. That's what I thought. I didn't want to. I never want to talk over Chris Holmes.
No, don't worry about that, mate. I always make. It's probably because I didn't make a reference to Coke or Doctor Who or Prez. That's why. So I'll continue in this. I'll continue in the same vein, Chris, when I'm coming to you.
If I'm looking down, it's probably on my phone.
I was hoping it was your phone and not something else, Chris.
Oh God! Did you see that video that I sent? The Valentine's video.
No, tell us more.
No, it was just like a parody song that I sent you guys in the group.
Oh yes, okay. Sorry, I thought this was something else.
No, not like that.
Was that a Dalek, wasn't it?
What was the question again? What topic are we on?
So what day is it, Chris? That was the question. No, 25 minutes gone. How do you think Newcastle have played so far?
Oh God, a bit frustrating. I feel like it's almost like they've got their like they've been have the reins on, and they're not playing. They haven't kind of totally switched on. Like they got the cobwebs off. They're trying to shake off some rust, but like hopefully we saw like Steve Agnew explaining things, because you would never have Steve Bruce explaining things. He doesn't really do anything during the match except bring the subs on, and he was probably just told when to bring the subs on. This famous 65-minute subs. I see some encouraging things, but also sort of that patented Newcastle not being able to finish in the final third. And I mean, we're not going to be instantly overnight make all these guys final third finishers, but with Gale in there, hopefully adds some more finishing, because St. Maximin is great at driving into the box, but not necessarily and having that final finishing move. Oh, wow.
Okay. How was he left on his own in there?
Werner left on his own in the box, comes steaming in, and true to form, puts it wide. Got out of jail, Newcastle, a little bit there. But sorry, Chris.
Yeah, I'm sort of saying that hopefully with this new lineup having Gale in there, that we get ASM sort of more in this final third finishing, and rather than just either he's got to make that timely pass where he's got the whole defense trailing after him, and that frees up somebody else for an open shot, or he's just got to be better on target, because he's going to drive the defense mad. It's just a question of can he create the goals, and I'd like to see him get more assists really first.
Okay, Rich, over to you, mate. Werner coming close there.
Yeah, it's clear to see that Chelsea have turned around, and they're actually going to target Kraft out the weak link in our back line. It's the second time that ball's come across to Alonso. He had that shot on target in the first couple of minutes, and then there's that ball. Kraft seems to be getting drawn in too much. I don't know whether it's that what we've said before numerous matchday lives, where Lascelles likes to have other people around him on either side in front of him and needs that security blanket around. So I don't know whether he's telling Kraft to come in, but that's definitely where Chelsea are looking to target. But on the opposite side, Lewis has actually been looking to get forward again, which has been, one of his change since Graham Jones has come in. He hasn't literally been on the back foot all the time. He's looking to go forward and try and create something as an extra man on attack for us. But it's pretty much the same as what the rest of the lads have said. It's, we're playing some good football, but when we get in that final third, it's going to be the decision making and stuff like that. My main concern of watching Chelsea is they are starting to get a little bit frustrated with a few of the passes going astray because they haven't been able to capitalise in that first 20 minutes. However, they do tend to, when Willock's going forward to try and get that extra man attack, they do seem to get through Hayden and Shelvey quite easy, which is then obviously getting our back four close together, which is creating extra space over there for Alonso. Hudson-Odoi hasn't really had much to do, but they're definitely looking to get Werner and Alonso in as their main attacking threats to our back four.
That's horrible.
Yeah, corner from Shelvey wasn't the greatest, and it's a clearance by the Chelsea defender, so it's going back out for a corner. We're coming up to the half-hour mark. It's still Chelsea 0, Newcastle 0. We'll stay with Shelvey as he takes this corner, floats it in, and
one.
The ball. ASM's picked up the ball.
One on.
Jinx one. Tries to get past one, gets past two, but it's cleared easily again by Chelsea.
The problem with that piece there, when Werner was in space, is that Lascelles was about 10 yards in front of Hayden. So from a point of a central pairing, there's a big gap between Kraft and then Clark being the next central defender. So that's why Werner had all that room, because Lascelles had gone about 15 yards in front. And Hayden was back before Lascelles was. So that communication on the back line, really, Darlow needs to be shouting there and going, Lascelles, like, where are you going? Keep that straight forward, keep that line, because otherwise we're just going to create gaps like that. You can't go wandering.
Yeah, I'd agree. Tom, Steve Wraith, any chance you could do a video explaining the Teddy Smith rumours? I am doing 2 documentaries over the next couple of months about the craze, mate, but not on my YouTube channel. I'm doing a thing for BritBox in April, and I'm doing a podcast with Michael Caine in April as well, both career related, and the Teddy Smith stuff will be on both of those, so keep an eye out for those. Chris Hall, back to you, mate, as we've got another stoppage as Werner gets his lip wiped by the physio. I'm sure he could have done that himself. It's a little cut on his lip, but never mind. Yeah, I mean, half an hour gone, mate. We're still 0-0.
Yeah, still 0-0. And to be honest, Steve, the game's gone exactly how I thought it was. I mean, Chelsea, they don't look all that great, do they? Don't get me wrong. They've had the better of the game. They've done the more pressing. They've had the better chances, obviously. But again, they don't look great. And what I really like, as I said at the start, is that we're giving ourselves that opportunity. If that opportunity opens up, or if Chelsea make that little mistake, there we are. We're up the pitch.
Bam, man! Bloody Giroud.
Giroud keeps his record up against us.
Honestly, I said, he's the one player who you just didn't want coming on. His record is superb against Newcastle. That was crap. It was coming and it was crap. Really annoyed about that goal. What a soft goal. Absolutely soft. Ball played out wide on the left. Coming down the left all the time. Targeting the left because of Kraft. It was coming. One easy ball across the box and a deflection out. Darlow was committed. He was down at the other striker's feet. And the ball falls to Giroud with an easy left foot tap in, straight past everybody lying on the ground. Werner as well, who created it, and Ryan, who's in the chat, who's our resident Chelsea fan tonight, will be absolutely delighted with that. And Werner doing what he can do. He's not scoring goals, but he's certainly got an assist there. And Giroud puts Chelsea 1 up. So, Chris, back to you, mate. 1-0 down. 1-0 down now.
Well done, Chris, for jinxing it.
Yeah. Do you know what? As I say, Chelsea haven't been great, and that goal kind of typifies it. It was really tight, and you always felt like there was just going to be one little mistake that led to a goal. And I was obviously hoping it was going to be Newcastle, and it turns out it wasn't. I mean, again, it's the marking. from deflections or block shots, or when the ball bounces back out, we always still feel like we don't mark. I mean, there was plenty of players in that box. There must have been 5 or 6 players in the box, and yet none of them thought, "Oh, hang on, the best Mark Giroux here, the goal scorer." So that's really disappointing. But as I say, I've seen enough to think that there's chances in this game, and let's hope that wakes us up a little bit. And like I say, this Chelsea side, they don't worry me. I'll be honest, I'm really not worried. And like I say, they've had the majority of the game, but I still don't think they've played all that well. I think there's definitely an opportunity for us here, and let's just hope that we can really try and grab an equaliser before half time. Let's have a go at them, because they don't look comfortable.
No, they definitely don't. Pete, 1-0 down. I mean, it has all been Chelsea. We can't really lie. 8 goals, 8 shots on target. Sorry, it was coming.
Yeah, it's look, we expected Chelsea to have a lot of the ball. Our record at Stamford Bridge is atrocious. Let's be honest, it's awful. So I didn't expect anything less. But that defending from Kraft is an absolute joke. That's the reason the goal came. Werner's had to do absolutely nothing to get that ball into the box. It's like he might as well have not had a defender there. That defending is some of the worst defending I've seen from any defender, let alone Kraft. It's shocking. Considering,
man, unlucky.
Considering
great move.
Other than the goal, they've not really created anything of any note, considering how much possession they've had. So that's even more infuriating that they've eventually got in so easy the way they did. Look, it's going to be a difficult game. We need to go at them. We're not doing enough going forward. We're not creating enough chances. We're not, we've had the ball in decent positions in the first 34 minutes. For all the least amount of possession we've had some decent possession of the ball in good spaces. But again, it's the final ball. It's the use of the ball in those situations. Stem hasn't used the ball very well. Gale hasn't used the ball very well. Hayden, he's just played a forward pass there. I think that's probably the first one he's made. He's just been so negative, looking at playing that backwards ball all the time and not looking to play it forward. We just need a little bit more. Miggy's been alive. He's been moving. He's been trying to create space across the...
That's what I mean. Sorry, Pete.
Right?
I'm just jumping in there, mate. That Werner come on the pitch when the ball was still playing. The Sky's just spotted that.
Yeah, you're right. They are just re-showing that as well, but it's too late now. The goal's being given.
Sorry, Pete.
Was he? But was he signalled on by the ref? Did we know that?
I know, but the ball was still playing. The ball stops. We go off the pitch. And yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't know if he's been signalled by the ref. If he's been signalled by the ref, then he's allowed to come on, even when the game.
Yeah, the ref went like that. The ref gestured to him.
He did. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Sorry, mate.
That clears that up then.
But yeah, and look, there were still opportunities in this game. It's 1-0, fair enough. We need to ensure that that's the only goal that they score between now and half time. But we need to go for it. These are not very good. Let's be honest. They're misplacing passes. They're putting balls out for throw-ins. They're overplaying. They're not doing that well. They're not the same Chelsea team that we've seen and played against over the last 15 years. So we should be going for them. So that's the most disappointing thing about everything. But we're still in it.
I think the thing, Pete, that's missing from us is if you take this versus the Southampton game, the intensity is missing.
Yeah.
We're always going to be different at home compared to away from home. We're going to.
Yeah, we are to a degree, but that intensity can still be there. It's what we said before it started. It's knowing when to press and when to push up.
Yeah, and you know what?
That intensity.
You know what? I have to be honest. Even through the low amount of possession that we've had, when we've had the ball in those positions, the intensity has been there. But the final ball has let us down. We had good spaces. It was a fantastic ball that was played out onto the left by Shelby. into Lewis. I mean, why Lewis didn't shoot, I have no idea, because Kepa was well out of his goal, but he's instead played it inside. Then you get ASM on the ball coming into the 18-yard box, into the box. You know, he should have done better. You know, we've had other positions where players have got the ball on the edge of the box, could have done more. We said about Joe Willett winning the ball high up, and then he's chose to run into three men rather than play the side pass. It's stuff like that that's letting us down, not the intensity. You can already see how we're setting up. ASM on the left, Miggy in the middle, Gale on the right. We're setting up exactly the same way. We're playing in exactly the same way. But when we've got the ball high up, we're not doing enough. You know, when we're at home, the emphasis is on us. When we're away from home, when the small amount of chances we have on the ball, we've got to do well with it. We've got to make it count. And at the moment, we're not making it count. That's the difference.
We're playing counter-attacking football without the end product.
Yeah, that's what it is. You know, we're about to have less of the ball. We're about to have less of the ball. We're about to have less chances than we would be as the home team. But as always, if you're going to have those less chances, when you get them, you have to take them. Especially when you come into Stamford Bridge. Next week when we go to Old Trafford, when you get those chances, you have to take them. If you're not playing the right pass or you're misplacing passes, you're making it worse.
Oh my God.
2-0.
Is he off?
Is
he off?
Offside? No, 2-0 Werner. Werner breaks his duck.
That's what we didn't want. We didn't want a second goal.
38 minutes gone. Werner with a simple tap in, and they were queuing up, to be fair. And it looks as if Newcastle's night is going to go from bad to worse. It was a corner. It was swung in. Newcastle did win the header. It deflected off. Was
Giroud's hand up there slightly, or am I?
We'll see it better from this angle.
Oh, he moved off the way.
What? Moved his hand out of the way. It clipped Clark's head, bounced off Lascelles' knee, and then fell to Werner at the back post. Darlow did get down and managed to clear it, but it was already across the line as he managed to push the ball back out. A calamity of errors in Newcastle's back four. Werner gets his goal. Chelsea go 2-0 up. And Newcastle United have got a big mountain to climb to get back into this game. And disappointing, lads. Yep, disappointing.
I think they're still looking at the handball. Still looking at it from the one from behind the goal. He seems to literally, it's like a feather of a touch, I think.
It didn't hit his hand, like. It definitely crossed the line. I don't know what the hell they're looking at that for. Checking goal.
It definitely was not that.
2-0. Yeah, 2-0. Werner scores, and that's that. Al-Walid, disappointing.
Get up.
Whack.
Hit the face again.
Yeah, if your lip wasn't bleeding, it is again now.
That is unbelievable.
What you there?
Werner with another bizarre injury.
He ran right into the elbow.
Yeah, he's literally basically run into an elbow, and his mouth was bleeding before. Now it's bleeding again. It
looks like he's gotten 12 rounds as one of your fighters.
He does actually look as if he's been in a bit of a boxing match at the minute. Yeah, it is funny. Just before I forget, we're getting carried away with these goals going in the wrong end. Spider VPN. The closest was El Nobo with his 29 minutes prediction. If you give QTech a shout on Twitter, there is their address. Give John a shout at QTech on Twitter. He will he will be able to put you in touch with the guys. I will be in touch with John later on, but just get in touch with John at QTech, and then I'll make the arrangements. John, if you can get El Nobo's details, we can get the Spider VPN router and get Gareth in touch with him. Thanks, mate. Over to you, Al-Walid. 2-0 down. Disappointing.
Yeah, it is actually. The differences between the two teams is very obvious. I don't like we are more individual play, especially in attacking. The only chance we had, as you said, guys, we blew it off. More individual play of St. Maximin. He should put it to Almiron or Gale. 0 shot on target as well. The Chelsea very good today because they are much organizing. They are going from defense to attacking very quickly. They know everyone know where is the other player move. They know what to do with the ball. except us. We just focus on how to get the ball from our area. That's it.
Yeah, you're right, mate. You're right. It's disappointing, but Chelsea have got world-class players. One of their players is probably worth, like somebody said in the chat, the entire cost of our team. So it's one of those things, really. We've gone down here with little expectancy, and we're about to find out what this team is actually made of under pressure again. But Nathan, 2-0 down, disappointing, mate. Fair reflection as we get to the 42nd minute.
Yeah, I think when you started this going around with this question, going around the houses, it was a very different game to what it is now. By the time you've reached me, it was 0-0 when we started this question, I think, and I was about to say at that point that down our right hand side, down there left, we look really, really fragile, really vulnerable. Alonso is having a field day. He's just playing as another winger, isn't he? He's playing as another midfielder for them. He doesn't have to track back at all, and he's found loads of space for him. For that first goal, it was really disappointing to see when Werner came on and he left Kraft 2-on-1, and Hayden kind of jogged back, but it's alarming really that the team aren't alert to that there's a player to come back on and aren't making plans for that to happen and making plans to have that man covered. They were completely asleep for it, and we got completely blindsided by it, and that led to them being able to work the ball down the left hand side. When the ball came into the box, I saw when the ball went in the back of the net, I saw Lascelles throwing his arms around, looking round him. He's the centre defender. He should be on the centre forward. He was looking around and looking for somebody looking for someone to blame. I'm sorry, but that's on you. You're the captain. You're one of the centre halves. Organise as the ball's going down that side. Organise a team in the middle and anticipate that ball coming in the box, and make sure you've all got your men and make sure you're all ready for that ball coming in. Because inevitably, when Werner's 1-on-1 with Kraft, that ball's going to come in the box, isn't it? So to say they weren't prepared for it is an understatement. It's just not acceptable at this level. And that, it's like you said, it's a soft goal for them. So it was a free goal. I think Chelsea are pressing us really high up the pitch. We're struggling to get the ball down and get comfortable. They've not let us get a foothold in this game. I was about to say as well before the goals went in that Chelsea were in a bit of a rhythm for that first 20 minutes, and then for the last 10 minutes it was kind of a bit scrappy. But that would have been that would be what we wanted. We don't want Chelsea to be in a rhythm. We would want the game to be scrappy and kind of fragmented like it was. But it's just a shame that we conceded in that time, and it's a bit of a sucker punch really. I think it's criminal as well that we've gone 44 minutes into this game and we've not tested Kepa once meaningfully yet. I think that's just unforgivable and unacceptable given his shortcomings in the net.
Fair play. Spenny, your take on this half as it comes to an end, more or less? You're on mute, Spenny. Spenny, you've done a Spenny.
Happy birthday. I was saying happy birthday that year.
All right, well, cheers, mate.
Lascelles, he's come back and that defence has gone terrible compared to being playing. He's not man marking anybody. He's thinking he'll go through him and I'll go to follow him. And he's leaving the man up in the space. In that second goal that Giroud, he just come from nowhere and he's marking the same player as Hayden was. I don't know. Get Dummett on. Kraft's not playing very well either.
But Kraft's been targeted throughout the game. A lot of people in the chat, Spenny, are criticising Gale, saying he's done absolutely nothing. But I mean, there's been very little service there for Dwight Gale either.
Gale can't do anything because he's not getting the ball, is he?
No.
You know what I mean? Every time he's getting the ball, he's getting two corners.
I don't agree with that.
You know what I mean? It's not Gale's fault, is it?
No, it's not Gale's fault. Bob Curry says, are we sure we have a midfield on the pitch? It doesn't look like it. The captain couldn't organise a party in a pub. It's a good point, Bob.
Right, centre midfield again, isn't it? We've been crying out for centre midfield. We've got that young lad playing. There should be an experience. And Shelby's just walking about, scratching his head, shouting at people and blaming everybody else.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean?
We get 2/3 up the pitch, and then Chelsea are just playing a ball left or right, and it's bypassing our entire midfield and is bringing them level with the edge of the box every single ball they ping.
Yeah,
Kovacic is killing us, mate. Kovacic is killing us.
Yeah, he's just sitting in that central piece, Chris, just in front of the halfway, just inside of it. He's picking up the ball and he's got acres of space left and right to ping it either way. He's got Hudson-Odoi one side. He's got Werner the other side, and he's got Mount in the middle, and he's just bypassing Hayden and Shelby with the ball over the top.
Yeah,
Just men against
simple.
boys.
Simple
Men against
football.
boys, this. Isn't it? What's men against boys?
Once they've got past that 4-man press up front, Kovacic has got so much space in between those front four and Hayden and Shelby. He's just got acres of space. He's just it's spraying it around, a bit like Hullet used to do. Just spray the ball wherever he wants to go, and it's just dropping on a sixpence to who he wants it to go to, and then we're caught out every time.
Yeah,
I think the difference is as well. Chelsea's midfield's worth about 150 million. Ours is worth a fiver.
Do you know what, though, Spenny?
We're carrying Shelby again, though.
But the thing about the cost, though, lads, it's not even about whether Chelsea's 100 million and we're only 20 million. It's about basic setup. Like, if you know you're being bypassed, change it round. If 4-2-3-1's not working and you're getting caught out and they're dropping the ball over the back, then go to 4-3-3. Bring it back to 4-4-2. At least put a bit of structure around it. Even go and drop Hayden slightly back in front of the defence and bring Wilcock in a bit tighter with Shelby.
It's obvious what the problem is.
Yeah, no, it is, guys. It is. We're coming up to the last 10 seconds of this half. We'll play this out. Chelsea 2, Newcastle 0. Chelsea once again in possession. Could have been 3-0 up as the referee blows his whistle. And that is half time, guys. 2-0 to Chelsea. Could have been more. Newcastle haven't really been at the races. Lack of ideas, lack of shots, lack of possession. Lack of quite a lot tonight. Lack of effort, really, compared to previous games. And it has to be said that the injury to Tammy Abrahams probably has done Chelsea the world of good, because they certainly didn't look as if they were going to tear us apart until Giroud came on, and things have changed. Werner has woken up, and Chelsea 2-0 up, and deservedly so. So, Martin, your views on that first half, mate?
Yeah, up until the goal, we were okay. As Pete said, no final third. Getting the ball into some okay places. I think the interesting thing, looking that if you want to draw a comparison to, I suppose, Gale and Wilson, it's interesting. Wilson's running line and Wilson's ability to create space for the other three is massively there for anybody to see. So the craft that Wilson can put in to pull wide or go left or drop just short creates that space, and obviously Gale isn't really giving us that same piece that Wilson obviously does. Can you criticize Gale that much? Not really. He's done more than Lascelles has done, which is, he got his head to a ball that was heading goalwards and got it over the bar. So, it could have been 3 had he not done that. So at least Gale's done something. Once the first goal went in, it's been Chelsea since that. We've been devoid of any kind of real game plan. We're getting overrun, as Chris said, through midfield. Kovacic is just pinging balls left and right, pretty much like a training session for him. We need to tighten up midfield. I'd be looking at the formation, I think, and maybe looking how do we tighten that up, even get somebody on him. So, yeah, I think it's only going to keep going one way if we don't change up slightly, have a look at the formation. Then I can see Chelsea coming out second half and maybe getting another 2 or 3, unfortunately.
Daz, any positives?
No positives, Steve. And definitely not. It all seems to be coming down that left-hand side and targeting craft. And he's the weakest link, and that injury to Manquillo and getting rid of Yedlin is going to come back and bite us, really. And unless Murphy can fill in as well, and as immediately when the second goal went in, I went on checking the table, just checking the goal difference, and we're on minus 15 goals now, and Fulham are on minus 12. I hope it really doesn't come down to that last game of the season against Fulham, but yeah, it's that right back slot now is spot a real worry for me going forward here. Murphy can come in.
Richie,
he's not really a natural Richie on the right though. I suppose he could. He played both wings, so why not? Why not try him in the right back position? We have no other choice unless there's someone in the youth ranks that can come in and do a job. But Kraft, he's never done anything.
No, he hasn't. Chris, Are you with us?
Yes, always with you.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. What's your take on that first half, mate?
Yeah, the wheels kind of came off the bus, didn't they? It kind of seem like the catalyst was, like you indicated, Tammy Abraham going off, and then Giroud coming on, and it just kind of seemed to wake up Chelsea or put a shot in their arm. And it just sort of seemed like all of that work that they were showing on the sideline with Graham Jones looking at the monitor. I sort of wondered, are they watching your birthday videos rather than actually anything that had to do with sort of strategy and what they were showing? I also kind of thought that was a little strange. That I've never seen, maybe this is a regular thing, I've never seen guys showing on the sideline what the assistant coaches are reviewing. I sort of think it's maybe a little bit sort of peeping too much in terms of whatever they're showing is meant for the club and not meant for like the wider players and not meant for the wider audience. So I sort of felt that maybe they're just being too obvious about it, but I sort of thought it was a bit cheeky or sneaky of Sky to be kind of peering over Graham Jones' shoulder. And maybe it's just to indicate who's really running the tactics and strategy, but it's not good enough whether it's Steve Bruce or Graham Jones that kind of got run over in the second part of the first half. So they got to make some adjustments for whoever's in charge of this club.
Yeah, I would agree, Rich. There's no positives, as most of the lads have already said. It's just been a doom and gloom first half.
Yeah, it was a shame because after we rode that first 20 minutes, the 10 minutes before that goal, we were coming into it a little bit. I think the problem is if we were playing that 4-2-3-1 formation, especially against the midfield and the attacking players that Chelsea have got, I don't think you can play it with Hayden and Shelvey. I think you've got to have someone with another bit more legs in there that can, if you wanted to put them on Kovacic, you can, man Marcus, who doesn't have all that time. Possibly something like bring Matty Longstaff on for Shelvey, because I think once again, unfortunately, I think we're just carrying Shelvey. It isn't like a Shelvey game. Do you know what I mean? It's he isn't getting that time to spray it out wide, and we're not going to against teams like Chelsea, unfortunately. So that's possibly something where I think we could change in the second half. I think a lot of people were happy with Gale coming in to replace Wilson. I think the difference with Wilson is we all know he's without a shadow of a doubt, a million times better than what Gale is. He can play in various different roles in that front line. And obviously with changing that to that three up top and obviously playing Miggy through the middle, Wilson's good right. Gale doesn't tend to do well on the flanks. Gale's more of a, an in-the-box poacher sort of striker. So I don't know, he's not really been effective for that three. Possibly, you could look to change it and bring Fraser on. With his pace, that might draw Alonso back towards, defensively. So it eases a bit of pressure on Kraft, because at the minute Alonso's just having an absolute field day down there. But regarding Giroud, the opening goal, I think a majority of us, in the build-up when we noticed he was on the bench, and Abraham, a lot of us said they had a very, very strong bench, and we were happy that Abraham was playing. And sure enough, second top goal scorer as a Premier League sub, and he's also got a good, fantastic record against us. And as soon as he comes on, sure enough, puts them ahead. So I do think there's a couple of changes that need to be made. But one thing we have to do is we cannot make that goal difference any more negative. That is one thing we can't do this second half.
Yeah, it's a fact. Goal difference could play its part, as we know when you get dragged into a relegation battle. Chris Hall, 2-0 down against a very good Chelsea team.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? I mean, in terms of a positive, the positive for me is that it's still 2-0. I mean, if we come out in the second half, we make these tactical changes that we've all discussed. We scored a goal in the first 20 minutes and leave ourselves 25 minutes to get that equaliser. We're very much still in it. I just hope that we we do tactically change it because it's not working at the moment. I as Nathan said earlier, I feel really sorry for Kraft for that second goal. Sorry, it was the first goal, wasn't it? Because I know Werner comes on the pitch last minute and the referee does, ask him to. The referee does tell him that he can come on. But again, it's the communication within the team, because Kraft's been left there, and he's not the best right back. I'm not for 1 minute saying Kraft's fantastic. I'm not saying that, but the lad's up against really a 70-80 million pound player, isn't he? And Werner's not slow, and they should have done the homework there and said, well, listen, where's the weak spots, as a coaching staff or as a team, who's going to need a bit of extra help? And again, I sound like I'm constantly battering him, but again, I blame Lascelles. Lascelles is next to him. He's the captain. He must know that, Kraft's going to need some help. And, everyone could see the ball kept coming in on the left. So you'd expect Lascelles to just go an extra 5-10 yards over. Oh, I'll give Emil a hand here because he's struggling. But again, he's just kind of just leaves him. And then obviously we're exposed. And then that goal goes in. I mean, I've just freeze framed the replay of the goal. We've got 7 players in our box. And when the ball comes out after Darlow makes the save, 4 of them around the keeper. Shelby's at the far post. And you've got Lascelles just hanging on the 6-yard box. And then, like you said before, Steve, he's throwing his arms up saying, oh, who's marking him? And you think, well, you're the nearest person to him. You're the captain. You're the one who should be looking round. I think Nathan said that as well. You're the one who should be looking round saying, listen, he's got to organise the team. And you would hope that the keeper does it, but Darlow doesn't look to me like the most vocal of goalkeepers. And maybe he's still a young lad, isn't he? So maybe he doesn't feel up to doing that. But yeah, I feel really disappointed with Lascelles again. I just feel like we really lack that leader on the pitch, that person who can shout a few orders out and get the lads in order. And I do feel that's where we're lacking big time. So as much as I don't think, Kraft's a fantastic right back, and I certainly don't see him as our first choice right back, he's the best of what we've got at the moment. But the lads need to help him out, and leaving him exposed like that, it's going to result in one thing. But yeah, in terms of the second half, Steve, I want to see some changes. I want to see. I wouldn't even pull Kraft. I'd just maybe put an extra body in the centre of midfield, get someone on Kovacic. Look at Jorginho. I think he's been reasonably quiet this game. I'm a bit worried about Hudson-Odoi on the right. He's had a bit of joy on the right against Lewis. Again, another inexperienced left back, but he's got the potential, he's got the talent. But again, he could probably do with a little bit of a hand. Maybe we're seeing the downfall of this 4-4-2 diamond formation, because we've got Hayden sitting in front of the back two, the centre backs, and then we've got Willock on the right and Shelby on the left. Now, as soon as you cut the ball either through the middle of those two or you get round them, you've got that big gap. And maybe that's where this, change in formation. Maybe we do need the two sitting. Maybe we do need to go to a 4-2-3-1. I don't know, but we definitely need to change something up. But we're still in this game. If we get that, if we pull one back in the next 15-20 minutes, get on the front foot, have a go at them, why not? If it goes to 3-0, maybe then it's time to shut up shop and, as Rich said, protect the goal difference. But first 20 minutes, let's go out, let's grab one, let's get them nervous, because this Chelsea side, all right, last 20 minutes they were pretty good and they started to get into a groove. But I think heads go down. We score, heads go down, and our confidence goes up. So let's try and get something out the game.
Yeah, I wish I had your faith. Martin's just sent us this, and I've got to be perfectly honest. Behind every team is a plan. Yeah, you're right. I don't really do tactics. I think if one thing sums up, that's it. Martin, you're right there. Pete, I see you're getting ready to blow, mate. It's we're coming back, getting ready for the second half, but 2-0 down. I've got to be honest, I can see a third goal coming quite quickly for Chelsea in the start of the second half, and Newcastle really have got no chance of getting back into this game, I don't think.
Can I, just before Pete jumps in, sorry Pete, just to jump, can I just say one quick thing which has been coming up on the chat and on Twitter? Why can Barnsley give Chelsea a game and we can't?
Yeah. It's a good point. You know what I think? It's down to the fact that we've come up with this formation. Whether it's the new coach, whether it is Bruce with the gloves off, but it's all been targeted around one striker, around Wilson, and now that plan is out the window because Wilson's out for 6 to 8 weeks, and suddenly we're in this position where we're back to square one. Who else is capable of doing that job? Wilson makes great runs. He's a good striker, and we don't know what's been going on with Gale. There's been something going on with Gale and Bruce. We don't know what it is. Joe Linton can't do that job that Wilson does. Andy Carroll is too old and has had too many injuries. He can't do that. So I think it's simply down to tactics and the fact that we've lost key players. We've lost 3 key players with that win against Southampton to bad injuries, and suddenly we've got to rejig everything again. Pete, you might disagree.
To start with, look, with the Barnsley comparison, there's no comparison. It's their cup final. So they're going to go out and play very expansive because it's a cup game, it's a one-off game. We're playing in the Premier League where we're playing against top teams every week, so we have to play a different type of way and a different type of mentality for the game. Second point, Darlow's 30, so he's not young whatsoever, and he's not playing well. And I've called for it for a couple of weeks now. He's had a great season. Dubravka needs to come in. If you want results, you need 2 number 1 players playing in the team, and Dubravka's number 1. And it won't be publicised, it won't be talked about, but Darlow's just to blame for those 2 goals as the outfield players. I don't think he's playing well at the moment. If I'm honest, he had mistakes against Southampton, and he's made 2 mistakes again today that have been really, really poor. So that's that. I don't put it on Lascelles personally. I just don't. I'm sorry, right? You are a right back at international level for Sweden. You are one-on-one with Timo Werner that's not confident right now. You do not let that ball go into the box. He's had time. I don't care whether he's come onto the pitch late. He's had time to stand the man up. The man's not even, it's not like he's got a run on it. The guy's got the ball behind him and beat him for pace and got the ball in. Timo Werner's not that fast. But it's the way you track the ball as a fullback that stops that ball going into the box. That's the number 1. Because any player that's played at any decent level will tell you when a fullback has got that winger running at him, the first thing you say as a supporting player is no cross. No cross. That ball does not come into the box regardless. Right? And there's been too many times he did it against Arsenal, and I think in both games, and he's done it against that where he's too far standing off. And he allows the guy to have space and time to get it into the box. Everything else after that is irrelevant. It's irrelevant after that. That ball does not go into the box. That is just shocking defending from an international right back. Let's not get it twisted. He plays for Sweden regularly as a right back. That ball does not go into the box. Yeah. I don't agree with the other point about Shelby. I actually think Shelby's done okay today. I don't think he's played that bad, to be honest with you. If anyone's played bad, I think Hayden's been atrocious. He's been awful. He has been so negative. Every time he gets the ball, it goes backwards. He's not looking to play forward. He's not tracking men. He is making that midfield look worse. And typically, because Shelby has been on the negative view, that people are saying it's negative, and Shelby's the one. No, he's doing his job. He's getting the ball. He's turning over the play. He's getting back and forward. He is not responsible for any of those goals today. And actually, for the bright spots of play going forward, he's had a hand in that. So for me, I don't think he's played that bad. I think Hayden's the one that is an issue. The other issue for me is Dwight Gale. Dwight Gale is not playing this system well enough. And it tells you everything you need to know about how important Callum Wilson is. If you're a striker playing in this formation, whether you're a lone striker or a striker that's pressing as a 3, you need to hold the ball up. He has not once held the ball up, or even looked like he wanted to hold the ball up. Whenever there's been 50-50s in the air or on the ground, he's pulling out. He's allowing them to win the ball with ease. That is not what a striker should be doing. You should be getting in there, getting stuck in, trying to contest headers, whether you're small or whether you're tall. We'd be better off with Carroll on the pitch right now, because I tell you what, for all of his faults, he would be absolutely battering Rudiger and Christensen, who were not very good at all, right? And he'd be making himself a presence. Gale, and I hope he turns it around this in the second half. He has not done that, and he's actually making Miggy and ASM look bad in that formation, because he's not pressing and he's not doing the job. So therefore, it's making the others look bad. So there's faults in individual players in certain positions, and I'll say Kraft is massively at fault. I think Hayden's been at fault, and I think Gale's been at fault. All the others haven't done that bad.
Okay, the second half's kicked off. Shelby's just had a free kick outside the box. It was good. It was on target. It's the second shot on target in the space of 2 minutes in the second half. The keeper gathered comfortably though, and no changes at half time either. Newcastle United's back with the same starting 11 from the start of the game. So I will just flick that back up on the screen. It was Darlow, Kraft, Lascelles, Clark, Lewis, Hayden, Shelby, Willock, Almiron, St Maximin and Gale. Options obviously on the bench: Dubravka, Dummett, Matty Longstaff, Andy Carroll, Joe Linton, Richie, Fraser, Murphy and Sean Longstaff. And Chelsea are still 2-0 up, but slightly more positive start, Al Walid, in the second half. Newcastle certainly looking a little livelier.
We tried to getting at least to make minimize the difference in the score. For the two goals, first one, it happens many times before almost every game. The player come from the behind. Giroud is obviously 5 seconds. He take his position and nobody look at him. I noticed in the replay, some player like Joe Willock, Hayden, they just eyes on the ball only, not on the players, and they are on the one line. They didn't marking the player coming from behind. Even Giroud came take a step back to position himself. This is beginner mistake. Second goal also from the right side. Either we had Murphy, Kraft. It's obviously we have weak right side, right back. So this is we are not stable there. It's always having this mistake. The middle field, we need. I'm fine with Shelby, but we need legs. So this game need a lot of running. For me, I would like to see Matty Longstaff. I think he's the must player in the defense midfield. He can runs. For Gale, I'm not even if there is Wilson, I believe it will gonna make also the same, no much change, because the way we're playing, we are separated in the front, more individual play. I don't know what we need. We need the players to be close together. I wish if we see one touch play. One touch play is very important, because the way Chelsea playing is fantastic actually.
Yeah, okay. Nathan, it's still 2-0, slightly more attack-minded in the second half, but of course, when you're playing good teams, as Chelsea are, when you tend to push forward, you leave gaps at the back, and I think the stat that came up just after half-time on Sky there was rather daunting. 130 games where Chelsea have been 2-0 up at half-time. They've won 127 and drawn 3.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. A team with with good players who get the job done and see it through to the end, and are able to keep that compactness about the play and keep doing what they're doing. I think, like you were saying there, we started slightly more brightly, which I think that's the bare minimum we could hope for. I think we didn't have you'd struggle to find a pulse in that first half. I think, to be honest, the way we were playing. Some thoughts on Dwight Gale. Really, I think it's difficult for him up there. He's not had much service at all, if any at all. He's not used to playing as a lone striker like that. That's not his game. In the Championship, he was always with somebody, had someone in and around him for knockdowns, flick downs, that kind of thing. And he was a bit of a poacher in that sense. But you can't poach when the ball's never in the box and there's no sort of chaos and mayhem happening around you. That's where he thrives, really, in those pockets of space in that area. So it's perhaps not surprising that he's been very ineffective today. As Pete said, it's worth a shot just to get Andy Carroll on at this point, I think, and see if we can smack the ball up front and hope it'll stick, and we can have Willock and Maximum and Almiron running off him. I think that might be the best hope for now, because if you look at that centre half pairing that Chelsea have got, Rudiger's always got a mistake in him. For me, I think he's probably one of their weakest players. I would say, to be honest, he's always got a mistake in him. He looks a bit shaky when he's put under pressure, but he's had a very comfortable game today. He's had very little to do and very little pressure applied to him. In terms like Ali was saying, in the middle there's a lack of legs, and that's standing out today. I feel a bit sorry for Willock because he's been in a pocket of the pitch where the ball just hasn't been for us today. Outside their area in the middle of the pitch, we've had some joy down the wings. If you look at I'm a minute behind, and at the moment Gale's got the ball on the right hand side. That doesn't do any favours at all with him occupying that position, because it doesn't leave us with anything up front. And St. Maxim's not going to float in and nod the ball away if he gets a crossing, is he? So I'd be looking at a bit of a change now. Get Andy Carroll on, maybe even keep Gale on and throw Carroll on, and see if we can make a change that way, and see if Gale can get something, something from a second ball, from a knockdown from Carroll, perhaps.
Yep, okay. Newcastle United still 2-0 down, 53 minutes on the clock. A lot of people asking in the chat about this man, Daniel Sturridge Martin. Once again finds himself a free agent. Newcastle, of course, without Wilson for 6 to 8 weeks. Is that somebody that you would take a gamble on? Would you bank on him trying to keep you up?
I don't know. I've seen talk today on a pay-as-you-play, but for me, he hasn't played, and I think his injury record, just for me, I don't think he'd bring anything. Would he go straight in the team and start scoring? Again, to score goals, you need to create them. So for me, it wouldn't be a runner, I don't think. No, not for me.
Okay, Daz?
No way.
No way, okay.
No. He... the last couple of years, he's done nothing. And didn't he turn up? Was it at West Brom or someone he turned up at? And after being linked to us, and he was injured in the first game or two, and did nothing for them. But yeah, no, I wouldn't bother. I anyone else, but no, I wouldn't take Sturridge.
Okay, Chris, Sturridge fan?
God, I think it'd be pretty tough to have two pay per play guys on the same team. Yeah, like other guys said, we were linked to him years ago, and maybe he would have been a good option then, but I don't think he's got anything in the tank now. It's sort of like taking I'm dropping the name, the Italian player that was like
Schilacci.
Balotelli.
Balotelli. Yeah, it's sort of like Sturridge and Balotelli, because if they ever have anything, they don't have anything more in the tank now.
Well, of course, we've missed out on, I suppose we missed out on that guy as well. I mean, Rondon signed, obviously, for CSK. I mean, he's a great player. We know how good he is. Should never have let him go, really, But obviously, it was Rafa's signing, and, it was, if Rafa went, he went. So, but, there's no comparison between those two. I think Rondon would have done well in this team still.
I'd have taken him without a doubt. Even at his age, I'd have taken him.
So would I.
Yeah.
Actually, it's criminal. It's criminal that you left in the first place, and it's criminal that he's become available, and we've not even had a sniff at trying to get him. For me,
we couldn't give him sure money, so we gave Timo Werner money.
Ridiculous. Rich, what's your views on the forward situation? I mean, Sturridge is available. Pay as you play. Would you take a gamble at this stage when you look at what's happened tonight?
I think if we've had a bit of a chat in our WhatsApp chat earlier on. I mentioned I would take him on a pay as you play deal to the end of the season and no longer if that. But you stole my thunder, unfortunately, Steve. I was going to say I don't understand how we didn't go back in for Rondon. He's only went to Russia for 6 months on loan. He could have come to us for 6 months on loan because we had no backup for Wilson, and we know that Rondon. Yes, he's a slightly different to Wilson, but he knows the lads. He knows how to play. He knows what it means to put on the black and white shirt, etc. He'll get goals for us. So I'm just surprised that we just didn't even explore that option. Unfortunately, I think the only other forward out there I don't know if he's still classed as available on a free or not, but obviously is unfortunately out of our weird bracket would have been Diego Costa. But I think he's going back to Brazil. But he's when you're looking at the carriers position that we're in, we should be trying to pull all the stops out to make sure that we're going to get the goals that we need to stay up. Because when you lose your number one striker and you look at what we've got in reserve, it was clear to see during deadline day we needed someone else to come in. Everyone was saying if we lose Wilson, sure enough we've lost Wilson. There we go.
But it's another Newcastle and a Mike Ashley gamble, isn't it, Rich? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it always
everybody
is.
Sitting on this panel, from Steve right the way through, could see that he wasn't going to spend. His prayer and hope was that Wilson would stay fit, would get through the season, get enough points, and take over goes through. It's another gamble that's failed again.
He's always done it with money, though, isn't it? We discussed the other week about when they brought Graham Jones in. He is the Mike Ashley replacement, cheap rather than bringing a new manager in. He's brought a cheaper option in rather than having to, bring in, pay off all these Bruce's coaches, staff, which is going to be several millions, and then bring another manager on a higher salary. He's brought in, he's paid $250,000 compensation to Bournemouth. So that's all he's had to fork out with. So he saved himself I don't know. He's paid 8% of what he could have done to just get rid of all the coaching staff and then bring in a quality manager. So he went for the cheaper option. He's always went for the cheaper option.
Pays $250,000 to get somebody who he could have got 2 weeks later for free.
I know.
And that's a Gareth Bale's weekly wage or something.
Yeah, for his toilet roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, just on the strikers, really. I mean, Sturridge is available. Is it somebody who floats your boat?
He would have done 5 or 6 seasons ago. Not necessarily now. I mean, you all know my feelings on Andy Carroll and the pay-as-you-play deal, and I'm reasonably happy with it. But no, not for me. Sturridge, I think he's a spent force, and I do feel if we were to bring him in, I think it'd take him a few weeks to get up to speed, and then I think I don't see the value in him coming in, if I'm honest. I mean, as say 5 or 6 years ago, I'd have been very interested in him, but no, I personally wouldn't take a risk on Sturridge. And also, there's always been a few doubts, hasn't there, over his attitude. You wonder whether he might become a bit of a bad apple in the dressing room if he doesn't get minutes. Would he start having a bad influence on the team? He's a bit of a journeyman. He's gone to a few different clubs, hasn't he? He's fell out with people. Not for me. I mean, I know the lads will have already touched on this, but Rondon would have been perfect, wouldn't he? Knows the club. Fantastic professional. He gives his all every game, and it seems like an opportunity missed, really. But yeah, I would have preferred. I mean, really, because some people might not like to hear this, but maybe if we could have had a go at someone like Josh Madger, who's gone to Fulham. He gets himself a couple of goals the other night, and he's a young lad, something to prove. He would have been a good option, but yeah, no to Sturridge for me.
Very like Tammy Abrahams. I mean, when he left Sunderland, I was surprised Newcastle didn't go in for him then. But then it needs football people at a football club to know a football player, and I've said this for the last few years. Even whilst Rafa was there, that unfortunately the people behind the scenes who make the decisions aren't football people. If you go back in the histories of Newcastle United, there might not have been everybody's cup of tea, but at least people like Russell Cushion, knew the club. I think there's only Tony Toward who remains at the football club from that old era. And when I say old era, I mean when I started watching the club in the 80s, who, you know, has any semblance of what he's doing. But the likes of Lee Charnley, etc. I'm sorry, I keep using this story many times, but Lee Charnley used to make me cups of tea when I worked at the club, and I know more about football than Lee Charnley does, I'm afraid. So, you know, we've got no chance of ever being a good football club until we have football people involved. And we had all those ex-players on last week. I would put, you know, the likes of Warren Barton, Steve Howie, Lee Clark, Keith Gillespie, all of those guys, Gavin Peacock. I'd give them all an opportunity, you know, to do what Lee Charnley does, you know, because they all know football. They're all respected in the game. They could all talk contracts. They could all talk football. Lee Charnley and Mike Ashley have had it very easy this season because Mike Ashley's put the club up for sale. We all know that they are the root cause of the problem at our football club at this moment in time. Steve Bruce is part of the problem, yes, because he's sitting in the manager's seat. We all know that, you know, he's not the fans' first choice. But it's not his fault, really. He's given a job to do. And this is where we're at. We've just got to hope that we can cling on to our Premier League place and that this takeover can go through. Because if it doesn't, I genuinely feel that this proud football club could drop and not come back. And that's my big concern. I think we could end up doing what Sunderland have done. I do see this team, if they go down, not coming back up. And that's going to be a problem because we're not living in normal times now. We're not living in, you know, we're not living in that era where Mike Ashley, if he ends up being the owner and staying as the owner, can suddenly pull a checkbook out. He's got other businesses. He's got other things to be looking at, and I just worry about this. You know, this is a big concern, and you know that gap that looked so big a couple of weeks ago between us and the bottom three has now been, you know, hedged back to the point where, you know, we're into single figures. Fulham have got a game in hand. Fulham are looking the team who could get out of that bottom three. Newcastle are looking like the proverbial stone dropping into the mix. And it you know, with the injuries that are piling up, especially to key players, lack of goals in the team, lack of investment up front, that's the big worry. And as Joe Linton gets ready to come on with 63 minutes on the clock, Steve Bruce's favourite time for making a substitution is always around this time. We'll laugh. He's taking Dwight Gale off, who hasn't had a very good game, bringing Joe Linton on. This is part of the problem. We spent £40 million on a kid who's got the number 9 shirt, who's not fit to wear it. It's an absolute mess. It really is. And this is the big worry. And you know, a lot of people on social media, you know, disagreed with me when I said this about Joe Linton last season. It's not his fault, but you know, the guy was brought in to score goals. He hasn't done it, and we spent £40 million on him. Not his fault. It's the guys running the football club, and this comes back down to that issue I was making at the start. We haven't got football people in charge of our football club, and that is a huge issue. And it's come back to bite us on the backside. Same happened to Sunderland. Sunderland didn't have football people in charge. They had people in who fancied running a football club, who didn't know what they were doing, who put their faith in the wrong people. And that's what the problem is. It is as simple as that. And, you know, we've all read that Kevin Keegan interview with Alan Shearer on his 70th birthday. And, you know, that's the kind of people you need to run our football club. Alan Shearer's, the Kevin Keegans, the Peter Beardsleys, the people who know what the club's all about, the people who, are heroes of ours, but, you know, people who know what they're doing. It's not rocket science, but, you know, that's my rant over, lads. It's not very often I go on one.
Steve,
but
going on what you were just saying, Steve, I actually agree with what you said about getting a football mind. That interview with Warren Barton last week was phenomenal. The passion that he spoke with, the knowledge he's got of the club, the knowledge of the game in general, not just the Premier League. I mean, worldwide, obviously, with him working for ESPN over in America. You know, that's the sort of thing you'd want in somewhere as like a director of football or something like that, working above the manager. But what you said there about if we were to, you know, we're dropping like a stone and Fulham are picking up points. By the time we kick off on Sunday against Man United, if Fulham beat Burnley and then beat Sheffield United, we start off 1 point ahead of them before we kick off against Man United. That's scary. Wow. Very scary.
Do you know, like you've just said then as well, Steve, you know, people will make comparisons about, you know, when we went down in 2009, but, you know, we had... when you look at the squad that we had, I mean, we were lucky Chris Hughton came in and he, really hit the ground running and, was great with the players and stuff like that. But the danger that, when you look at the squad that we had then and the squad that we've got now, I'm sorry, but, the majority of these players will leave if we were to go down. And the ones that we would be left with, they wouldn't be fit to lace the boots of the players back then. They really wouldn't. And we've said all season that the issue that we've got is we've got no leadership. There's a lack of quality in certain areas, and you can guarantee all of our best players would leave, and the players that we left with simply aren't good enough. And I think we become a mid-table championship side, maybe a top 8 championship side at best. But we would be far from guaranteed of coming straight back up. And we went down previously under Houghton. We went down under Rafa. Again, extremely lucky that we had Rafa Benitez in charge for when we last went down. And you would argue we probably had a lesser side than we did in 2009 when we went down under Rafa. But we had Rafa Benitez. That was the big difference. And this time, if we go down under Bruce, I think we'll keep Bruce. And if we keep Bruce, he's not getting us off that league.
No, I don't think so. Look, I mean, he's got a decent track record of that division, but it'll come down to the finances. It'll come down to the players who are leaving. Pete, I mean, it's as I say, it's my opinion. I just feel, that's where we're headed. I really don't. I don't feel confident. And experience gives us that because I've seen more than one relegation in my time as a Newcastle fan.
Yeah. First and foremost, I don't want Daniel Sturridge anywhere near this club. I'm sorry, if you turn down Newcastle to go to West Bromwich Albion, no disrespect, but West Bromwich Albion, the couple of years ago, right, you don't deserve to come back to this club. And to be honest, it's a non-starter because we've already got a 25-man squad, so he can't come in anyway. So I don't understand where this story's come from. It's absolutely pointless because he can't come into the club because the squad has already been decided. It's done. It's finished. What we've got now is what we've got for the season. So I thought it was a bit of a pointless story when I first read it. Anyway, with regards to where we are where we are because we deserve to be where we are. And it's down to, yes, a lack of leadership, but it's obviously down to just bad management all the way through the club. Are we going to come back if we go down? No, if we're still under Ashley. But look, we've been in this position before. I think we were relatively comfortable in other seasons where we were in relegation around this time of the year, and then still went down anyway. The issue I have right now, right, we're still 7 points, and we could still be 7 points by the time we play Man United. The issue I have now is that Fulham's tails are up. Fulham are the only team that will catch us. Fulham's tails are up. They've got decent players. They're not great players. They're decent players. But they're playing with confidence. We're not. We've lost our confidence by losing the likes of Callum Wilson and Manquillo and Shaw, who all three were playing really, really well up until the point that they got injured. That's my issue. And what I can see now, second half, is a team that is just confidence has been absolutely shattered out of them. It's gone. And where we had the confidence going into the last few games, I worry that by the time we finish at Old Trafford and potentially get another hammering, going into the likes of Wolves and the West Brom games and the Burnley games that are coming up, our confidence is going to be so low that we're going to struggle to get anything from those games where we actually need to get points. After the Man U game, we've got a run of 7 games that are all winnable games. That are the games, in my opinion, that are going to define our season. It's not, for me, this is not going to. I don't think this will go to the last day of the season. If we get through those 7 games and we're still right in there, in terms of like 1 or 2 points, or even in the bottom 3, we will go down. I've got no doubts about that. However, on the flip side of that, if we get points in those 7 games, in winnable games, you've got Wolves, you've got West Brom, you've got Burnley, you've got Villa at home, you've got I think Southampton. No, not Southampton. Sorry, there's a few other games. Anyway, winnable games is the key. If we don't get through those games and we're not comfortably in a position where you could see us being safe, I worry. Because equally, on the flip side to that, after Fulham play their next 3 games, which is Burnley, Sheffield United and Palace, they have a run up until, I think, 3 games towards the end of the season, where they're literally playing everyone in the top half.
They've got the top half, exactly.
They're playing the Liverpool. They're playing the Villas. So if we get through our 7 games and they're still ahead of us, or they're catching us, or they're close to us, I think we're going down. Because then we have a run of 4 or 5 games at the end of the season where we're playing the big guns. Yes, we're playing Fulham and Sheffield United at the end of the season, but we all well know that we don't do well with pressure. We struggle with pressure. So those games are winnable games at the back end of the season. But if we're under any sort of pressure, we will struggle. And that's my worry. So for all the talk right now, and yes, Fulham are going to have the hype because they've got games that are winnable, but so are we after we play Man United, and that's the key, and that's the biggest worry because those 7 games we lose Wilson, we lose Sharp, we lose Mankilio. So for those games where we need to get points, we've lost 3 players that would make the difference in our team, and that's why I'm worried. So if there's a lot of fans out there at the moment saying, "Oh, why are we worrying? We've still got so many games left." It's because what we're doing as fans that are genuinely worried, we're foreseeing the future in terms of we know our team, we know the mentality of our team and how fragile it is, but also we're looking at the games and thinking, if we in those next 7 points, struggle right now, we're going to struggle. And that's my biggest worry above anything. We're going back to just want to touch on quickly about the recruitment. There's only 2 people in the club in the last 13, 14, 15 years that have known anything about player recruitment. One is Graham Carr and the other is Rafa Benitez. They're the only 2 that have known anything about recruitment. Okay, in the early parts of Mike Ashley, Graham Carr recruited some fantastic players on very, very cheap, next to nothing deals. He worked wonders. It soon fizzled out, but he knew players. He knew who was quality and he knew the market. Rafa Benitez then came in, and Rafa Benitez is underestimated in terms of his scouting network. His scouting network is beyond better than any other manager. And I'm talking Pep, and I'm talking Jose Mourinho. Rafa Benitez's ability to scout players, whether they're costing 100 million or whether they're costing 2 million, is above and beyond anybody else. And the fact that we had those players under Rafa Benitez was the key as to why we got out of the Championship, as to why we consolidated in the Premier League, because he picked out players of pure quality, right, for the amount of money that he had to pay, and allowed him to still play the type of football that he wanted to play. We don't have that right now. Okay, we have a guy that paid 40 million for Joe Linton after how many scouting? I think he had something like 20, 30 scouting missions on Joe Linton, and still thought it was right to pay 40 million for him. For that, it is a sackable offence. In any other line of work, you would have been sacked for making such a bad decision for so much money. That's just the reality. And for him still being in the club tells you everything you need to know. We are flatlining right now. We go down, we don't come back up. Lascelles is finished in terms of a Newcastle player, and I said that the other week. In my opinion, if we get to the summer, regardless of whether we stay in the league or not, regardless of whether we've got a takeover or not, he needs to move on. There are certain players that have come through Rafa's kind of era that have now outstayed their welcome, and Lascelles is one of them. And although we love certain players, Matt Rich is another one. I love him to bits. You know, he's been a fantastic servant for the club. But it comes to a point where certain players outstay their welcome. Matt Rich is one of them. Lascelles is one of them.
Shelby.
And John Joe Shelby, yes, is another one. They've all outstayed their welcome, and we need to move on and get a fresh group of players in to take us forward, regardless of takeover or not. The one last thing I want to point out is that we're in a massive relegation battle right now. And there's a lot of talk that this takeover could be wrapped up by February, March. What are they thinking right now? They could quite easily take over a club for 340, 50 million and still end up in the Championship and have no say or no recruitment to change that. So, what are they thinking right now? What is going through their mind? They clearly still love the club and want to take over the club, but do they really want to pay 340 million to Mike Ashley for a club that is deep in a relegation battle and could still quite easily go down, even though they're planning to potentially own the club by February, March 2021? That's a very, very interesting scenario right there.
76 minutes played, Chelsea 2, Newcastle 0, and here to be the bearer of bad news, but Lascelles is down and he's holding his knee. Physio is on, having a look to see how bad it is. He's grimacing a bit, but it doesn't look good as Chelsea get ready to make another substitution, and Graham Jones takes Andy Carroll through a game plan, as it looks as if we're going to bring Andy Carroll on now into the fray. Al Walid still 2-0, been a bit more positive from Newcastle, but it doesn't look as if Newcastle can find a way back into this game, to be fair.
It's very hard to talk after beat. They cover everything. So next time, please don't put me after the beat. What to say? For me, I didn't expect to win against Chelsea today. Let's be realistic. For me, we should focus, as Pete said, on the winnable games. And when we focus on Southampton, we win. It's right, we lose 3 players, but we fight because we believe we can win that game. So we should focus on winnable game. And for Chelsea and Manchester United, all right, maybe we get 1 point, maybe we get lucky, maybe we get. That's what we were hoping. But I think number one problem is Steve Bruce, because the tactics, as you said, there is not the same thing. Nothing changed, nothing creative. You don't believe a miracle will happen. That's why I think West Bromwich changed their coach to Sam Ardiles. We noticed they noticed the problem very earlier, so they make the change. Because we see West Bromwich did the great games against big 6 teams. I think 4 of them. So for me, number one position is the tactical, the coach thing it's the main problem. So if we have Steve Bruce, so let's focus on the winnable game. And deep in my heart, I believe the game against Southampton, we will see. We'll come to that at the end of the season. The game against.
The reason there's a few expletives, Al Walid, is because they've just taken Willock off and brought Andy Carroll on. St Maximin went off and Fraser came on before that. So a little bit of head scratching from the panel on the substitutions there. But look,
I agree with it, Steve. I'm sorry, I agree with it. We're getting nothing from this game, and
game's over. Yeah,
those type of players that it would be typical Newcastle. In the last 10 minutes, they pick up an injury. So I agree with it. These players are not showing me anything that they're going to get out of this game. So save your better players for next week. I agree with it, to be honest.
I'd be the same, Pete. Yeah, surely one of them will get injured, and then we'll be fucked for the next game, or the more important games after that.
Yeah.
You can tell it bad when Daz is swearing. Dear me, Nathan.
Sorry, everybody.
No. Hey, I mean, it's an over 18 channel, mate. But I'm genuinely shocked, Daz, because it's not you. That is not you, and I can tell you're upset when you start dropping an F-bomb in. Nathan.
I mean, where to start with this team? I mean, yeah, I think with the way we've been run for the past 14 years now, it's indicative of a Sports Direct warehouse, isn't it? Like budget staff, cutting corners at every opportunity, and it catches up with you over time. As Pete went through there, and the other lads have said, we've had times under Graham, where Graham Carr's been in charge of the scouting, and we've been down and come back up. But the time, as Chris said, the times that we've been down, especially the first time, we had some real fight and some real grit in that team. You look towards this team now, and you know, we just led on. We're completely flat-footed. You know, I haven't seen anyone bust a gut to make a good run. I haven't, except Fraser. Fraser's come on and shown a bit of running down this left-hand side, but it's been pedestrian at best, hasn't it, today? And that's, you know, that's the real worry about. The real concerning thing really is that the last 3 games, you know, we put in a really good showing against Everton. The game against Palace, although we got beat, we gave a really good account of ourselves, I felt, all across the park. And the game against Southampton showed some real grit to stay in that game and to hold on at the end. But you look at this performance, and this is back to the pre sort of Graham Jones style performances, isn't it? And if this is characteristic of how we're going to play against these bigger teams, and it's not great. You see other teams picking up points worryingly against these teams. You know, Man United dropped points at the weekend. You know, Sheffield have given a few of the bigger teams a tough couple of games. And all it takes is for Fulham to win a few games that they're not expected to win, and we're right in the shit, aren't we? So,
go on. Oh.
Yeah, it's so yeah. For me, it's we're talking about the takeover and what could change. If they come in, the only thing realistically within their sort of realm of control at this time of the season is a change of manager, and you would hope that is, you know, forthcoming, takeover or not. I think Graham Jones is there ready to step in to those shoes, and I would hope that. I think we'd see a world of difference if Mark Ashfield was to make the change now. From what I've seen today from the touchline, it showed little clips of the coaching staff, and I think it's fairly intentional what the media are doing. They're showing bits of Graham Jones doing bits and not of Steve Bruce doing things, and I think that's somewhat on purpose. I think. But for
mischief making, do you think? I mean, I've got to be honest. When I did see Carroll getting some kind of guidance from Jones, but then there was another shot about a minute later, which saw Steve Bruce then giving him some encouragement and some instruction.
Yeah, I think some of the previous games that have been on BT Sport, they've just not shown the. I was talking to Chris about this off the stream actually, and you always see when there's breaks in play, you always see the camera cut into the dugout, and like I'm seeing now, I'm about a minute behind, but you always see that camera pan to the dugout and see what's going on there. But in the games after the first Graham Jones game, there was very little of that on the BT broadcast. It feels like from that first game, the way that Graham Jones was on the touchline and he was barking orders out and dragging people into position and that kind of thing. It feels like, I know the second game that he was in the stands for the first half and came down for the second half, it feels like he's been quite sort of watered down almost from compared to the first game. I think he's probably had a word in his ear from Bruce to maybe take a bit of a step back. So I think Bruce, as we know, he's got a very sort of fragile ego. I think when he's criticised by fans, he comes out and criticises us and criticises the media as soon as anyone says anything bad about him. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Bruce has had a word with him and told him to take a bit more of a backseat, because I think that his pride will have been hurt by that first game, because Graham Jones came in, we got the win, and he got all the plaudits for it. So yeah, I think his ego is a bit bruised, and I think that we're seeing a more watered down, lesser Graham Jones at the moment, which is unfortunate, because I felt like he really helped in that first game. I thought he was crucial.
I blame Alex Bruce for Steve Bruce knowing about that, because the media didn't say it was all down to Graham Jones. It was on social media. It might have been on Twitter, but Steve Bruce isn't on Twitter. So how does he know what's being said? You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. I mean, he didn't even get asked those questions by the press whether Graham Jones has had an effect, because, you know, the way that press conferences are done in COVID, you can't ask a proper question because the managers can bat them off. Do you know what I mean? And moving on, and you know I don't understand how Steve Bruce could be affected. I really don't by all of that. You know, I know we were saying it on the show. Was it the Graham Jones effect? But if he doesn't read social media, it can only be down to Alex Bruce showing him it.
Well, I think Alex Bruce is, I'm going to take everything that he says with a pinch of salt. I know he was on TalkSport this week talking about, criticising the Newcastle fans for the unsavoury messages, let's say, that Steve Bruce has received. I've noted a few people have pulled up a few tweets from Alex Bruce himself as well, saying he can't wait till he meets up with someone because he'd smack him in the face and one thing and another. So
I wasn't sure if that was a genuine thing. I mean, I certainly didn't retweet it or share it because I didn't know where it was from.
Steve, I think it was a fake account, that particular one.
Yeah, I see. This is the problem. This is the problem. You get people who create things and put stuff out there. Look at the Peter Beardsley account this week. You know, I mean, I think that's the third Peter Beardsley account I've seen on Twitter in the last 12 months. And like, look, we managed to report it and it got taken down. But I think there's at least another 2 inactive ones up there, which have been there for years. You know, people set these up and without the permission of the player. You know, we do know that some accounts are set up and run by agents, but they're clearly up there, run by an agent or whatever. You know, if you want to book such and such, do it. But the Peter Beardsley one, completely fake. And this is right. You know, that you get that up saying, you know, putting something up and then it gets used in that way. And Nathan's just proved the point. You know, Nathan has seen that and it looks as if Alex Bruce is offering people to have a straightener in the street. But that hasn't happened. But I heard the Alex Bruce interview. I did make a point of listening to it, and you know, nobody should get death threats. Nobody should be given that kind of abuse. We've done campaign on the channel about it, and we're fully behind Think Before You Tweet. You know, we were probably slightly ahead of everybody else on this campaign. However, you know, I do believe that, you know, the abuse that he's had, you know, has been uncalled for in a lot of ways. So Alex Bruce coming on, though, he tars all Newcastle fans with the same brush. That's what he did in his interview. It made it sound as if it was, you know, every Newcastle fan. I think that's why people have reacted the way they have. People feel offended by it, you know.
That's the thing with Bruce, though. He's done nothing to sort of endear himself to any of the fans. When we've criticised how we're playing, he's said things like, you know, are we not? Is it not obvious? Can we not see what he's doing? Suggesting that we don't understand football. You only have to listen to the opinions on the show and read the comments in the chat to know that, like, the Newcastle fan base, as a snapshot, is very well informed and knows exactly what we're being served up on the pitch, and we know exactly that full well that it's not good enough.
That's a penalty.
He looks at him before he's done it.
By a mile away. This referee, by the way, can I just say, this referee has actually given us very, very little tonight.
It's got to be a pen. That he knows Carroll's behind him, and he backs into him.
Carroll couldn't do anything.
Not given. VAR must be either having a holiday or switched off.
No, we're playing the big six, Steve. That's the problem.
Clear penalty, says Tom Dixon. 88 minutes played. Chelsea 2, Newcastle 0. I think probably the big positive, and it's just a point that's been made by Maidstone Junction and Outstable. It says only positive tonight is the goal difference. We didn't concede 5, and I think that's probably right. Definitely, yeah. We'll see how much stoppage time is left. I don't think there'll be too much. Obviously, we've got the substitutions, possibly around about 3 minutes. 0-0 second half, Martin. If we're going to look for any positives, we haven't collapsed, as Maidstone says.
No collapse. I think just to go back to Pete's rant and Nathan's bit, I think there's some really good points in both their chats there. For me, the whole, you know, Jones, Bruce, whatever. Do you know what? At this point, like, I actually don't really care. Like, what I care more about is there's 11 players out there wearing black and white shirts. Like, where's the pride? Where's the passion, the fight, the leader? Where's somebody that...
We haven't got a leader.
There is no leader. And it's like, you know, Bruce, we can all joke about Bruce and is it the Jones, you know, whatever. And I think Jones does have an influence. I think he definitely got told to get back in his box. You know, from the Everton game, without a doubt. He's definitely been more low key over the last few. So, you know, look, that's Bruce's ego. But once they set up, whether rightly or wrongly, they set up the tactics or they set up the team, the 11 that go out there that wear a black and white shirt, it's up to them. They cross the white line. Put an effort in. Like, fight for it. Like, Fulham played Everton last night. Haven't won at Everton in, I think, something like 9 or 12 years, something crazy. But they had fight, passion.
It was a 50, Martin.
Yeah, they were the first to every ball. They took their chances. They got stuck in. They were geeing each other up. Whenever there was a tackle went in, one of them was getting a pat on the back. There's none of that from us. There's no fight. And what worries me, to take Pete's point, is I think we'll go to Man United and I think we'll get another tanking. I think the likes of Cavani and Rashford and people like that, Bruno Fernandes, I think, you know, we won't go through a game without giving out fouls and stuff like that. So I have a horrible feeling about Old Trafford, unfortunately. But what happens then is, as Rich said, we could get to Fulham. Fulham could be a point behind us. And all of a sudden, they see us losing 2 or 3. And as Pete said, the confidence goes. And all of a sudden, Fulham's tails are up then. And they go, do you know what? We can catch these. We can catch them, and not only catch them and go past them. And I think Pete is 100% bang on. And so is Nathan. Players have overstayed the welcome. But I think if we drop to that bottom 3, I think it's a struggle, because I think that mentality and the headset and the mindset just completely goes from where it is now. And it's not good now. So I would genuinely worry. Will we pick up some more points? Yeah, I think we will. But like performances like this from where we were against Southampton will only encourage Fulham to keep going at it, because they'll see a glimmer of hope.
All eyes are on West Brom now, Martin. I mean, that's the key game. Forget Man United, I'm afraid. You know, I think you're right. I think Cavani, etc., will be waiting and we'll have a field day. We've got to be focused on West Brom now, and that is a 6-pointer.
Absolutely, and we just need to extinguish that flame of hope to Fulham and those below, and we need to be taking those points. But again, you know, I can accept a defeat if we put effort into it, and players are fighting for it and looking at it. But nobody's fighting, and that for me is just in any man in a black and white shirt from goalkeeper up. If you're not fighting, you've not got that. Somebody just needs to step in and become a leader. If Lascelles is not going to do it, somebody else step in.
Do you know what, Martin? Andy Carroll's done more. He's put more effort in this last
10 minutes exactly
than any of them put together all evening.
Exactly.
I'm appalled. I'm really appalled.
Do you not think it's a concern, though, Martin? Do you not think it's a concern that our 2 leaders, our captain, vice captain, are Lascelles and Shelvey, and every single one of us, pretty much in this chat over, you know, last few weeks, whatever, have all said they would happily not see them play for Newcastle again after this season.
Absolutely,
they're supposedly our leaders.
Absolutely, I slated Lascelles over the first couple of the games of the season. I put it up on Twitter, and I've spoken about this before. I put it up and I said, not my leader, not my captain. And I got slated for it. Slated.
It's spot on.
Full time, Newcastle have lost 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. As I say, the only positive about that was that we didn't get hammered. So Martin will stay with you so that we can go around the board. Overall assessment of tonight's game and a man of the match if you've got one.
Yeah, I think from a game perspective, okay, 0-0 second half, but I think it's a revert to type. That to me is the team that was 3 games back. No real second plan, no real threat at goal. I think Nathan's right. Andy Carroll did more in the last 10 minutes than most of them on there. So I'd probably give me man of the match to him, because at least he got stuck in. I think for the next game, I'd probably be looking to start Carroll and put somebody alongside him, be it maybe Willock or even someone like Anderson or even Gale. At least, you know, Pete made the point, you know, Gale's a poacher. He's not a Wilson. He's not an out-and-out striker. He's not going to get you to the edge of the box and hoof it in from there. So he's a poacher. He needs knockdowns. He needs little taps, little short balls from the edge of the box to get him goals. So need to change it up. But yeah, unfortunately, a revert to type tonight. I went for 1-1, but not really anything we weren't expecting, I don't think. Poor.
Daz?
Yeah, apologies. My connection seems to be dropping all night. But yeah, I went for 2-1 in the scores, but I 2-0 in my head at the start. But then the positivity in the group here made me change it to a 2-1 loss. But anyway, look, I think we just have to get over the Man United game. We're going to lose. As simple as that. But it's all about the games after that, and when our players can come back in as well. Like it was Wilson out for 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. The games that we've got coming up are key. And we will pick up points from Wolves, West Brom, Villa, Brighton, Spurs, probably not, Burnley, probably not West Ham as well. But then when as I think Pete mentioned earlier, we have Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester, and Man City. We won't probably get anything from any of those, and then we have Sheffield United and Fulham, again 6 pointers at the end. But we need to have a bit of a gap by that stage to safely try and get over the line. But we will pick up points, but in the game today and the next day, I'm afraid we're not going to get any points. I bring Dubravka back in now at this stage. It's time to bring him back in and come up with some kind of a formation that can try and hold Man United in some capacity next week.
Chris.
Steve, maybe my man of the match is Andy Carroll, but I wanted to forego my match analysis and just add on more to my birthday message in the beginning, because I only was able to upload a short message, but I just really want to thank you for everything that you've done for the Newcastle community, the matters.
You're looking very special. Ben and I showed up in our crappy old, although I am wearing my very cool Jeopardy shirt. I'm wearing a dog shirt.
Hold on. He also wins to bring on the Three Stooges. What's going on?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I got another comment in there. But yeah, so I wanted to thank you for everything you've done for the Matters family, and really bringing all us on and making us feel a family. And it's been really hard during the lockdown to make any new friends or connections. But I really feel that you guys are my extended family all over, not over the Northeast, but England and the world. And so I'm thankful for you guys, and I'm thankful to you, Steve, for all everything on the channel, and happy birthday.
I appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. Rich?
I think my man of the match is probably Joe Willock. I think he was still trying to get in the box whenever we got in there. He made Keita make that fantastic save from the header. But apart from that, it's the first performance since Jones has come in where I felt it was more of a Bruce performance. We just didn't look at the races. We just didn't look at this. Once they got through that front four press, it was just far too easy. There was gaps all over the place. Just fingers crossed. Obviously, we don't have too much of a negative goal difference after the Man United game, and we've still got a little bit of a gap, because all I think we can hope for now is by the time we come out to Fulham last game of the season, fingers crossed we've got a 4-point gap.
Okay, mate. Chris Hall?
Yeah, I think going back to the points Daz and Pete made, the points, 8 points or 3 points tonight would have been fantastic, but our points are elsewhere, and it's in the future after we play Man United. And for me, we've got to try and put this one to bed. I mean, I suppose the biggest disappointment for me this game is that second half, as the lads have already said. That second half just took me back 3 or 4 weeks. It was just nothing. There was nothing there. I was really positive at half time. I was thinking, tweak a couple of things, might go out second half. I mean, first half, there was glimmers before the first one went in. The second one went in, heads went down. Came out second half, and there was just nothing. So that was extremely disappointing to see, and I hope we don't continue that against Man United. But again, I'm not saying that we're going to get anything against Man United. Anything we get would be a bonus if we were to get something. Do you know what? One of the comments that just flashed up then, and I think it was from a fella called Dougie, and I thought he summed it up really well when he just said we weren't at the races tonight, and he's absolutely spot on. We just weren't at it tonight, and you've just got to write it off. I struggled to see any real positives tonight in terms of a man of the match. If I was going to give it to a Newcastle player, it would either be, like Rich said, it would either be Willock or, as Pete said, Shelvey. But which is weird because we kind of lost the game in the middle of the park. So for me to say that is quite bizarre. But for me, man of the match, and I've got to give it to him because it's one of the best performances I've seen all season. I've got to give it to Kovacic because that first half, he absolutely tore us apart. You can tell he's an ex-Real Madrid player. Watching that, he was immense. So I've got to give it to Kovacic, and I can't believe Carragher and Neville never give it to Kovacic, and Werner got it. I'm very surprised because Werner, I know obviously he scored the goal, and he caused us no end of problems on that left wing, but for me, Kovacic was a class apart tonight.
People are getting stick for giving Andy Carroll man of the match, but it's all about opinions. Pete?
I thought Miggy was our best player tonight. I thought he played really well. Made a lot of good movements across the front line that weren't reciprocated in the right passes. And that's typical of Miggy. The guy, even when he's not being given the ball, he just continues to run and he continues to make the right runs, but he's just not got the players that have the intelligence or the movement or the ability to play the ball that gets him into great positions to score goals and create chances. So if I was to give it to any Newcastle player, it'd be him. In terms of Chelsea, I couldn't give two shits who played well or who didn't. It's not my concern right now. My concern is Newcastle United and the players that we put out and the players that play for us. And that's just my opinion with regards to that. It was a poor performance overall. I'll go back to the Gale point. Dwight Gale is playing supposedly for his future. It was built up this morning and all through today that he was going to be given the chance to show us what he was all about. He didn't. He was awful and rightfully so. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. We shouldn't have kept him on in the summer. We should have got rid of him and allowed us to get in another striker because we've got what? We've got Andy Carroll and we've got Dwight Gale to come in and support Callum Wilson. Neither of them really are good enough, and both of them know pretty well that they're going to be leaving at the end of the season. So their motivation and their mentality is not where we need them to be right now. We need them to be absolutely fit and firing and fully committed to our club, and they're not. And that's just the reality. Carroll played well tonight, but that's not a guarantee that he's going to play well next week, and that's the problem. Is that he'll turn up and have a decent game like he did against Arsenal. We'll come in and play another game and play absolutely shit. So that's just how it is. And that's the biggest thing. We missed Callum Wilson. You know, if anyone needed to know how much Wilson's had an influence on our team, you watch that tonight. You watch that striker's performance from Dwight Gale, and you see what Callum Wilson gives us. Goals or no goals, he gives us that. I was really disappointed with Hayden tonight. I thought he was awful. I didn't think he was at the races at all, and he really let down the midfield. I don't think Chelsea was amazing, but I thought he did okay. He was certainly better than Hayden. Willock lost his way as the game went on, and I thought he struggled. The key for us is that we didn't get any more injuries. That's the biggest plus that I take out of today, that we didn't get any more injuries. And that we go into a game against Man United, who are not playing great at the moment, with a slimmer of hope. With these big teams, we need to score first. It's as simple as that. If we don't score first, we're getting nothing from this game, from these games. And this is it. So when that first goal went in, I knew we weren't going to get anything from the game. It was over. It was just a case of how many we lose by. And it'll be exactly the same on Sunday. The one thing I don't want is for us to lose too much confidence, because though, like I said before, those 7 games after Man United are going to define our season. We will know by the end of those 7 games whether we're going to stay in this league or not. It's not going to go to the end of the season. We will know by then, and it's about how much confidence we've got to go into this game. So this was a free hit, ended up being a dead rubber, a pointless game for us. And let's see what we go on and do against Man United. I apologise for not being being positive at all tonight, but I just didn't see anything positive to talk about. Look, I've been very, very positive, like I was against Southampton, when we were absolutely fantastic playing with 9 men, and we gave grit and determination, and we gave everything. Tonight we didn't. And you know what? When we play shit, we deserve to be hammered. When we play well, we deserve to be praised. And tonight we were shit. And certain players who we normally laud and praise didn't rise to the occasion, so therefore deserve to be hammered. And that's just me. I'm a Newcastle fan. I love this club so much, and I just wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's just how I talk.
Al-Walid?
I'm not very, very mad about the result today. As I said, it's expected. This is their level. Same mistake of always repeated. So I think this is their level. And we are playing against top-rank coach Thomas Tuchel. You can see 2 World Cup winner on the bench for Chelsea. We didn't want to be much hard on the situation because maybe we didn't see the fight, we didn't see extra effort. But for me, I care about the injuries. We didn't want to get more injuries. We want to save this for winnable game. For like example, Sheffield game, I was very angry because it's winnable game. Against now things getting serious. We should think smart. We should focus on the winnable game. Today we concede 2 goals, and we have 4 on the back. I guess if we play 5 in the back, we will receive more. For Manchester United game, could something happen there? Manchester suffering from the defense, easily can beat in the defense. They have weak defense line, easy to hit. But the thing for Manchester United is the front line is very strong. We will try. We hope they just try to. There is 2 things I guess can be changed even with the player. No need for Bros. They need to play together. I didn't see cooperation between St. Maximin, Gale, Almiron. More they are individuals, still this individual. But we see against Southampton, we scored 3 goals. So this is I back what I said, that this is their level. So today they are Chelsea. It's a Champions League performance.
Sam Morrell gives his man of the match to Pete and Alwaleed. He says, can you give Alwaleed star watcher? He makes some excellent points. Pete too, he made some excellent points. So that's who Sam Morrell's man of the match is. Nathan, we'll leave it to you to finish off tonight.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I don't think any of us expected, given the predictions. I think we're all quite sort of optimistic when we were saying we were expecting maybe a draw or something like that. But I think, like Pete said, it was a bit of a free hit tonight. Any points that we did get would be a bonus. I think perhaps the most disappointing thing is just the massive drop off in performance that we've seen from the last 3 games compared to this one. That performance fell off a cliff for me compared to the previous games. I look back to the end of the Everton game where I was texting Chris about it at the time, and there was there's a period of like 5-10 minutes where we made like 5, 6, 7 50-50s one after the other, a bit like that clip that used to do the rounds of the of under Rafa when they were flying into challenges, and that's how we were playing. That's how we played these last couple of games, and we needed to do that against Southampton last week to dig in and keep the points. But there was none of that today. There was nothing at all in terms of any fight or any battling from any of them, apart from Andy Carroll when he came on. And to give Andy Carroll man of the match, he was only on the field for like 15, 18 minutes or whatever it was, and to say that he sort of impressed me the most, that's really disappointing on the rest of the lads that were on the pitch. I felt for Gale a bit tonight. I don't think Gale he ended up drifting out onto the right. He had nothing going for him in the middle. There is a massive difference, obviously, when you look at him compared to Wilson. The way that Wilson leads the line, the way that he drags defenders out of position, he makes the wingers look good, and he gives them space to do what they need to do. But Gale doesn't do that, and that's not what that's not his game. But I don't think he's got that in his locker to do that. So we might as well have had fucking Mr. Bean up front tonight. It would have been as much use as Dwight Gale, to be honest. But I think that's a measure of the system, and that's a measure of just his shortcomings as a forward playing up on his own tonight. So yeah, for me, it's disappointing. It's always disappointing to lose as a Newcastle fan, obviously, but I don't think any of it expected anything. But yeah, you need to look ahead now to those games that we can win, because as the lads have said, it's about trying to keep any shred of confidence going into those games, because if not, we won't get anything out of the crucial games that matter.
No, it's a desperate end to tonight's chat. Really, doom and gloom from everybody, but it's been a good night for us. We've enjoyed it as always. We've tried to help you get through the pain of another defeat. Testing times ahead. Newcastle, of course, Man United next, and then West Brom. We'll see how those games go. I just want to thank Martin, Daz, Chris, Rich, Pete, Alwaleed, Nathan, and of course Spenny, who did the first half, their contributions tonight. Don't forget, I am back tomorrow night at 7:30 with the girls who will be helping me see my birthday in for ladies' night. And then on Wednesday night we revert with Liam, and then we have a bit of loaded football at 9 o'clock following that show. So don't forget to join Martin, Chris and Daz for a bit of loaded football. Then on Thursday night it's back to normal with Supermac and Gibbo, and then we'll have the three amigos on Friday. A few other bits and bobs coming up at the weekend which I'm sorting out this week, but I'm going to let the lads go off and get a well-earned cuppa or a well-earned beer, whichever they're having. Lads, thanks for joining us. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Happy birthday tomorrow.
Cheers, lads.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot